Welcome back to Serie A Spotlight. We're your hosts Jake and Matt.
You know what time it is?
Jake and I will have a very special soft spot for Salernitana.
we love
now.
This might be bad.
But your group has really some characters in it, no?
Ora naħseb.
Hello and welcome back to yet another episode of Serie A Spotlight. This is episode 215 and we're your hosts Jake
And Matt.
here to run you through all the events of Matchday 31 in Serie A.
Yes, of course, we have a lot to talk about. Look, we're not that podcast that's gonna bore you guys with all the negative Nazionale talk. We'll give you some instant reactions, but what we're here to talk about is how Inter have extended their lead at the top of the table. Napoli have jumped Milan. Como have dropped points and now Juve have closed that gap to 4th spot. Roma risk missing out on Europe altogether. And Cagliari have gotten just a little too close to comfort to the relegation zone as a massive 6-pointer is looming against Cremonese next weekend.
That's going to be a massive game because Cagliari need to distance themselves from the pack a little bit, while Cremonese, this will be an opportunity for them to actually finally get a win that will spring them up to safety again. But yes, bro, of course, us being Milan fans, we are a little bit disappointed with what happened yesterday, but nonetheless, we will be covering everything from a neutral perspective.
Nah, I'm not a Milan fan today.
No.
This recording. When we record, it's time for me to step out of the Milan boots, and it's looking at the league in a holistic way and using no bias whatsoever. Right, guys? In fact, speaking of no bias, let's start with our goal of the week.
Yes,
Çalhanoğlu.
exactly. Çalhanoğlu.
How can we
Haram
bias?
Çalhanoğlu. No, what a goal that was. What a goal, what a goal, what a goal. That's
Screamer.
naive to give him so much space.
Naive
outside
to
and
give
so
him
much
so
time.
much space. Do you think Svilar was a bit too far off his line? Obviously, hindsight, right?
Perhaps, yes, but you would never expect that coming. He was just making his goal small, right? That's what they tell you to do. Maybe he was a bit too out, yes. But for me, Pellegrini should have pressed him much earlier.
Pellegrini should have pressed him much earlier. I think when Çalhanoğlu was outside the box, especially in these big games, he scored a similar goal. 2 goals against Juve earlier this season. Like that, no, you don't give Hakan Çalhanoğlu that space. Hakan outside the box. But Ulysses Garcia had a brilliant goal as well. His first goal for Sassuolo, actually. And Pinamonti with the second goal of Sassuolo against Cagliari in that game. Just a lovely bit of play. Who was it that kept the ball inside?
Oh, Thordsvet, man, with one of those, with a heel flick.
What the hell do you even call it? We used to joke about it as a
Scorpion.
kid. That is it's essentially a standing scorpion kick.
Yes, it was lovely the way he kept the ball in play. And Sassuolo, man, can play some really nice football.
Oh, they really can.
Their counter-attacks especially are so fluid, man, because they have a bunch of wide players who can make the difference, like Loriente
I think the
and
black players
Berardi.
can make a difference as well, bro.
The what? My God. And of course, everyone here at Serie A Spotlight can make the difference. But bro, they have 2 midfielders who operate in kind of like a traditional way in Matic and his name escapes me.
Yes, God, Keita.
Keita, is it? Yes.
believe so.
We'll have to confirm. But they yes, it is Keita, I believe. They have this really nice team, man. That's just so tidy and organized, and then fluid on the counter, man. The way they can create space and just like 3 passes and you clean through and goal. Kone, not Keita. Thank you.
So close.
I was thinking Kone, but the fact that there's a Kone
I think
with
there
Roma,
are 2
yes.
but there are 2 corners and 2 Keitas.
Yes,
that's where we get confused, of course.
But alas, brother.
Of course, shout out to João Mario, who scored a little half volley.
Yes, a lovely goal. 3 minutes into the game.
Screamer. Yep.
Yes. We also would like to give a shout out to our media partners, Benevobid. If you would like to get some merchandise that has been signed by some of your favorite players, you can check them out. Benevobid.
Yes.
And all the proceeds, well, most of the proceeds go to charity.
Yes, the
So
link
do
is
check
in
them
our
out.
bio, guys. So if you want to spoil yourself, spoil a loved one or whatever, check out the link in bio. And if you're one of these skeptical people, you can check them out on socials, and you could see actually the player signing off on the kit that you'll be bidding on. So it's
Yes.
it's quite cool.
And
Massive
it's good
shout out to
to
them.
be skeptical.
Yeah,
question everything.
Absolutely.
Brother, shall I start? Shall we kick it off?
Let
No,
me
you can
do
start.
some more formalities. Just guys, if you're new here, of course, make sure to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube, and rate us 5 stars on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. It helps us grow so much, and it makes doing this a lot more worth it. We have formed a great little community, and we'd love for you to be a part of it. And if you share our weird sense of humor and our passion for the minnow sides in Serie A, then look no further, man. You should totally join the community and contribute a little bit to help us get new mics and stuff.
Yeah.
If you really love us and want early access, live episodes, behind the scenes, become a patron. It's $3.99 a month, and you'll also be added to a group chat with 50 plus like-minded legends. Join our fantasy league and even win a free kit of your choice for winning the league. You'll also get a chance to feature on our Patron Corner segment throughout our episodes, where you can have your say live on our show. And also, while you're viewing us live, you get to ask us questions live on air, which is pretty sick as well. But without further ado, shall we jump into the first game, brother?
Yes, we can discuss Inter's pummeling of Roma, right?
Yes, of course. So at the moment, what we've been seeing is Inter had dropped points 3 matches in a row, which allowed Milan fans to dream, despite Milan not going through the best of spells either, losing 3 games out of their last 6. But the tables have seemed to turn once again towards Inter's favour. They get off their 3-match slump to maintain a healthy lead with just 7 matches to go. Great news for Inter is that Lautaro, Hakan and Dumfries were back into the starting 11. The bad news was that Bissek particularly was unavailable along with Carlos Augusto. For Roma, despite coming off a narrow victory over Lecce, Roma continue to free fall and might miss out on Europe altogether. They had some very key absentees for this game. You had Kone, Wesley, Dybala, and Ferguson and Dovbyk. The previous encounter between these two sides was a 1-0 away victory for Inter, and if I recall correctly, it was an early Boni goal that got them the 1-0 victory. For Inter, 3-5-2 formation with Jan Sommer in goal and a backline of Bastoni, Acerbi and Akanji. DeMarco on the left, Dumfries on the right, midfield trio of Zielinski, Çalhanoğlu and Barella, with Lautaro Martinez and Thuram up front together. For Roma, it was a 3-4-2-1, Vilar in goal, backline of Mancini, Indica and Hermoso, Celik on the right, Wrench on the left, a double pivot of Cristante and Pizzilli, with Sule and Pellegrini playing behind Malin. It's also good to keep in mind, guys, that with the international break, not only were some of the players fatigued, like obviously, Barella, DiMarco, Bastoni, and the likes, but also a lot of these players were also mentally distraught with a lot of pressure on them. Not only did these Inter players have their recent slump of 3 games, but they also came off that devastating loss with the national team that sealed a historic 3rd time missing out on the World Cup for the Italian national team, and notably Barella and Bastoni were the ones getting the most stick. So
particularly Bastoni, of course, for the reckless challenge
card,
when they were 1-0 up to get sent off. Of course, that was so reckless. That's it. It was extremely unnecessary as well, because it was. I wouldn't have bet money that guy would have scored from that break, because he still had to beat Donnarumma. Granted, it all started from that poor Donnarumma goal kick, but we know how hard he is to beat from those angles. And, had they equalized, Italy could have always pushed to take the lead again. But if you go a man down, you're just putting yourself under so much pressure for the rest of the game, and then you concede. And it's extremely difficult to get back into it, right?
Yeah. So, needless to say, this was an Inter side that came into this game maybe low on confidence, but the biggest confidence boost they could get is their leader being back in Lautaro Martinez. And in fact, Inter needed less than a minute to Lautaro needed less than a minute to mark his return, giving Inter an immediate lead before Roma responded well and levelled through Gianluca Mancini. The game was fairly balanced, and then until a huge turning point came just before half-time when Çalhanoğlu fired in a stunning long-range strike to restore Inter's lead. It wasn't the most... it was quite central, but it dipped over Sommer in a way that made it just impossible for him to save. It was out of reach and then dipped just perfectly below the bar for Çalhanoğlu. And that goal completely shifted the momentum. And after the break, Inter ran riot. Lautaro grabbed his second. Thuram added a goal and 2 assists. And Barella capped off a devastating spell to make it 5. Pellegrini pulled one back late on, but Roma had already collapsed as Inter cruised to a dominant 5-2 victory. And brother, I think the biggest talking point over here is the importance of Lautaro Martinez. Of course, there was the spine that returned, which includes Hakan Çalhanoğlu as well, and Lautaro Martinez. But Lautaro, man, this guy is involved. This is an actual statistic. He's involved in 31% of Inter's goals. In Inter's last 6 games without Lautaro, they scored the same amount of goals they scored tonight. It's not just his goals, movement and link up. It's his leadership and influence among a struggling group of men.
Yes, and that's so true, bro. Bang on. Like, he is a leader, and he is in every terms of in every aspect of the word. Like, he's a leader. He leads by example. His work rate on the pitch is enough, but then he has the personality, of course, to put his arm around the shoulder of the teammate, to applaud the teammate that makes a mistake. Exactly, he's the type of player that you would want leading the line. And he's a little bit wasteful. He's not perfect as a player, but he's gritty. He works hard. He's very good outside of the area, and granted, he's not too bad in it either with his instincts, but you can tell that the whole team was lifted with his presence.
Absolutely, and in fact, Thuram spoke after the game. Where's the quote? Yes, so Thuram was very obviously he was critical about himself as well. He said that the number 9 at Inter can't go months without scoring. Thuram showed some signs of accountability, not just laughing on the pitch, which I'm sure you're happy about. But he said that playing with Lautaro feels like home, which obviously implies that part of the struggle was him not playing with a certain Lautaro Martinez. And it's normal for teams to have this player with those leadership qualities that can carry the team. And he is the most important player, be it the sharpest in front of goal or not. He is the most important player currently at Inter. And without Lautaro, I doubt they would have won this convincingly. I think it would have been a much scrappier victory.
Some factors, of course, come into play as well. Thuram looked like he was more confident, and of course, I believe he scored with France in the international break.
Okay.
So that could have definitely helped his confidence a little bit as well, because he had been quite poor prior to this. So I think those would be 2 factors that can kind of neutralize the fact that the Italians in the team came with such low confidence. So let's not forget as well that Dumfries was sent off for the Netherlands quite early on.
Dumfries was sent off for the Netherlands. I believe Turkey made the World Cup.
Turkey did make the World Cup.
Of course,
massive
huge
for Hakan.
For Çalhanoğlu. But again, I'm mostly impressed by the Italian guys, because even Barella had a really solid 90 minutes of football.
He got a standing ovation on his way out, which is a nice breath of fresh air compared to the nightmare he's been living at the moment.
We saw a few moments in this match day where players who have been struggling have had a good moment. And you see this camaraderie where the team comes together to congratulate them. So there's Barella with his goal. Later on, I'm sure we'll be talking about Di Gregorio saving that penalty as well. They went crazy for him, man. It's
Politano.
Who's
often criticized as well. Yeah.
This is the camaraderie that we like to see in football, and that togetherness. I feel like Sommer rolled back the years a little bit.
Oh, what a save!
Last time we got a save like that was against Barca. Lamine Yamal's shot from outside the box. I'm not gonna say cat-like reflexes or whatever, but I did not think he was getting to that ball, man. Sommer. So that is probably the worst thing he could do right now for Marotta and the likes, because he's giving them an excuse with that save not to invest in the summer on a new goalkeeper, knowing how these Italian teams operate in the market. Aside from that, on the side of Inter, I'd like to talk a bit about the Bastoni situation and his rumored move to Barca. I know it was, I believe, Ranocchia came out and said no, he's not going anywhere. It's like
Ranocchia.
All right, Ranocchia. Sure,
cheers,
bud.
mate.
Thanks, man. It's like that guy that was friends with Bastoni. in kindergarten who claims that no, he's not going anywhere. He told me, man.
Yeah, was it Piqué once posted a picture with Neymar saying he's not gonna go anywhere,
Yeah,
and then he left for PSG.
He left immediately to
after,
PSG.
Like non si tocca, what was it? Non si tocca, something like that.
I don't know Spanish.
Yeah. Bro. Bastoni, I thought personally that like after what he's been through with the whole dive situation and the whole World Cup situation, especially, I don't think that he can live in peace. I don't know how bad it would be. I know that the heat online would be crazy, but I wonder what it's like for him when he's actually out walking around. If people see him and they're like, Bastoni, can I get a photo? Or if people say, merda, you know, we missed out on the third World Cup because of you. If that's the case, then I can't see him staying in Italy, you know. And to be honest, I would expect that to be the case. Not that I think it's correct, but I would expect people to be calling him out in public.
But I think there's a bit of reverse psychology over here, because I think that Bastoni is perhaps due a next step in his career, because he's won everything there is to win apart from the Champions League with Inter. And maybe his next step is wanting to play with world-class talent and win the Champions League, which a move to Barca, a move to City, a move to these guys is you know, you're obviously way more likely to win the Champions League with the likes of these players around you. But if he decides to do that now, Italy fans are going to hate him even more. Are you running away now? You're running away because you can't handle the heat, so you got out of the kitchen. So
Yeah,
I think he'd almost be doing himself a disservice by leaving now, in the sense that he's gonna want to prove them wrong. Now, I know it's with the Nazionale that the main issue is, but there was also the issue about his simulation against Juve and how bad for football someone like Bastoni is. So I think he'll be shooting himself in the foot by leaving right now, man.
To be honest, man, I think that he's in a situation right now that whatever he does, he's going to get criticized, and he can't really escape that, and he can't really control that. So I think Bastoni needs to take a look at his career and say, do I want to become a name that is synonymous with Inter and Inter's history? Do I want to really be
Which
successful over here? He already is, but he can continue to get those caps up, those accolades up, and really go down in history as one of Inter's greats. Or does he want to go and chase bigger things in inverted commas with a move to the likes of Barcelona, for example, and try and play with Lamine Yamal and try to win the Champions League? You know,
bro.
Yeah. It's up to him, of course.
But something that's good to mention. Fuck, it escaped me for a second. With regards to Bastoni, sorry, go on, bro, go on.
I was just gonna shift a little bit, to be honest, to Roma, but it's up to you if you have something else you want to mention about Inter.
Just give me a sec.
Sure.
I'll say something important about Bastoni.
Is it the video of his mummy feeding him on the sideline from a few years ago?
No. Anyway, go on, it's fine.
First I want to start off with Gasperini. Gasperini, if he is Superman, then Inter is his kryptonite. He has gone 17 games without managing a win against Inter. This is his 10th straight loss against Inter. 12 losses and 5 draws, and the last win coming on the 11th of November 2018.
My God. And it's almost like he hasn't learned. Because this game, he pretty much went toe-to-toe with them.
Yeah.
And in fact, it's the main criticism from Roma fans at the moment. You
can't
can't go
so
toe-to-toe against Inter.
Yeah.
And you see, and Gasperini admitted after that there was a mental collapse after the third goal. And they simply couldn't keep up. I think of course they were plagued with injuries as well, to be completely fair.
Just to mention who was missing, of course, Kone was missing from that midfield. That is a massive loss, of course, especially against a team against Inter. You need to get control in the midfield, and the transition was particularly poor because they were also missing Wesley.
Yeah.
Not to mention that in the second half as well, Mancini had to go off injured. That's 3 massive losses for them. And Mancini had already established himself this game and had already even scored. So
and I mean, Roma fans they're not happy. So if we were to sum up Roma at the moment, so if everyone felt like, okay, they have to choose between making top 4 or going all the way in the Europa League. They got one of the more favourable fixtures in the Europa League albeit against Italiano's Bologna. And, you know, fans were saying, okay, Italiano has won the Conference League, sure, but Gasperini, he's won the Europa League. And Roma, they've made a final, so Roma are the favourites. But Roma lost that game. It was a thrilling game, but they collapsed at the end. So they had to focus on one competition, which is the Serie A. However, now it's looking like they might even miss out on Europe altogether. So they're currently in 6th place on 54 points. Atalanta just 1 point behind them. Atalanta do have tough fixtures coming up, sure, but you kind of trust them a bit more than you trust Roma at the moment. They're out of the Europa League. It's improbable that they'd make Champions League and might even miss out on Europe with Atalanta looming behind them. Their record against Juve, Milan, Inter and Napoli this season is 8 matches played, of course, 0 wins, 3 draws, 6 losses. That is not a top 4 team.
They've got a massive game coming up. Not the next one. The next one's Pisa, but the one after is Roma-Atalanta. That is a direct clash for a European spot.
I'll put €20 on Atalanta to win that.
Maybe, but Gasperini would know them like the back of his hand. Ooh, a freckle.
God, bro. Jeez. But that's great, bro. Against Juve, Milan, Inter, Napoli, we can safely say these are the top 4 teams in Italy. 8 matches played, 0 wins, 3 draws, 6 losses. And this extends my point a little bit, and people are going to probably shit on me for this. I know I'm going to piss some of our patrons off. But Roma are not one of the big teams in Italy. They're not.
But what do you mean by that? What do you mean?
We could extend instead of saying the top 4 to the 7 sisters and whatever, like they do in the Premier League, as if we don't know who the top 4 teams in the Premier League are. You all here talking about Spurs being part of the top 6. Like, no, it's the top 4. We all know who they are. Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, City. Those are top 4. The top 4 teams in Italy, we all know who they are. Inter, Milan, Juve, Napoli. Roma haven't made top 4 in eons.
I think with Roma at the moment is they are kind of rebuilding, and
been rebuilding since 2002.
But yes, fair enough. That's true, bro. But this time it feels different. It feels like they actually have a decent project, and the Friedkin criticism seems to have in fact slowed down a little bit. The problem with Roma that I see is they have a good starting 11, and if they're fit, they can compete. But then the problem, you have to dabble into their depth. That's where the team takes a significant hit. In fact, you see Wesley out, and all of a sudden, counter-attacks become a trudge. They become like running in mud, you know. Kone as well, man. You take out Kone from that midfield, and suddenly it becomes really limp, you know. They have a big problem. In fact, even the introduction of Malin changed everything for them up front. Just one player, you know, made all the difference for them up front. I think that a few additions can really propel them into being a challenger for Champions League consistently. But they would need to make a few good changes, as well as hold on to Gasperini. And I believe there was a report recently that said that they would like to work with Gasperini and keep this relationship going.
I mean, ideally, they have a manager who's shown that if given time, he can do miraculous things with that team. What he did at Atalanta over his long spell over there
was actually miraculous. Like,
exactly, like Atalanta were nobodies, but they were mid-table / below mid-table. What he's done with them is ridiculous. And I said that Roma, of course, and I stand by it, they aren't one of the top teams in Italy. But if he did that with Atalanta, I'm sure he could do it with Roma, especially given a bit more of a budget. I'm anticipating they're going to let go of Dybala, right? So they're going to have some money to play around with.
Gasperini said he wants to keep him.
That's a horrific decision.
Yes,
it's a terrible decision.
yeah.
Why, man? I wanted to also mention the Roma fans' patience has collapsed. They're calling for the sacking of Gasperini. Terrible idea. Claiming that De Rossi and Mourinho were sacked for less. The question is, were they? And the answer is no, right? Because Mourinho was given 3 seasons. Of course, Mourinho won the Conference League, but I mean, Mourinho finished 6th twice in a row for Roma, as I have here in front of me. Yep, he finished sixth.
Sixth
He
twice in a
finished
row as well.
twice,
Okay.
sixth twice in a row. Two very identical seasons, where he had 18 wins, 9 draws, 11 losses, 63 points in both of them. And then when he was sacked, he had 20 matches played, 8 victories, 5 draws, 7 losses, and he was on 29 points, averaging 1.45 per game. So perhaps no, Mourinho wasn't sacked for nothing. And De Rossi, well, De Rossi didn't have that long a spell at Roma, but he hadn't won a game in like the first 6 matches.
I remember they had
There it
actually bolstered their team a little bit, and everyone was excited going into the season, and he had a really disappointing start, right?
Exactly. His total tally was 30 matches played, 14 wins, 9 draws, 7 losses.
Yeah.
Wasn't that bad, but the really slow start to the season came with I remember the CEO had left as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think the answer is sacking Gasperini. I think the only answer that sacking Gasperini would be the answer to is if you want the team to go 5 steps backwards, because I think that's the worst thing you could possibly do right now.
It's really interesting in football, man, how people seem to forget the situation from just simply a season ago. You see people complaining about Milan and Allegri, for example. People don't remember what it was like last year. You know, like maybe it was too early for a Scudetto push. Maybe it's true that we'll talk about this in more detail, of course. Maybe it's true that Allegri should have gone for it against Napoli. But people forget what it was like last season, how miserable it was. The same thing over here, man. Like Roma fans, you know, they don't realize that this season they're actually still fighting for top 4 in Matchday 31. They're still in the chance, you know. And you brought in a manager like Gasperini, one of the best managers in the league in the last few years, you know, who did miraculous work at Atalanta. And he signed a 3-year contract, which means that there's a project here. And if you give Gasperini some players who are capable of pressing and who are you give him a few pieces who are solid defensively and a few pieces who can improvise, then you really get his style and his identity going. We've seen that Gasperini hasn't fully committed to his ideology yet, simply because of some limitations in this team. How important are the wing backs in his system? You know, he's got Wesley. Wesley's the only Gasperini style wing back on Roma at the moment, you know. And even Celik has improved greatly under him. Imagine if you actually give him a solid wing back on the other side and some more players who suit his system, you know, someone instead of Pellegrini, for example, who can play behind Malin, you know.
No, or you know, someone that can play in the second striker role, so he can play his 3-5-2, for example. No, and he needs a mercato where the management isn't going to be stingy, right? He needs to bring some of his players in because he's got a great eye for talent. Of course, he had a great recruitment team around him, and perhaps that's something that Roma could work on, because historically over the past few years they've made some flops of signings. But anyway, I think we've exhausted this topic of conversation, so I'm just going to end that by saying that Inter, of course, are now 7 points ahead of Napoli, as Napoli are now second. Whilst Roma are in 6th, and they are 4 points behind Como in 4th.
Yes, Daniel says Inter, Milan, Napoli, Como, the new big 4. And then Tyson also...
New
big 4 with Como.
With Como, yeah.
And then Tyson says, I think the issue is that Gasperini is a bit like Thomas Frank or Sean Dyche. Great for mid to low table clubs to overperform, but terrible for clubs that have big status and need to reach certain goals. We'll have to wait and see, to be honest.
But to be fair, the only big club we saw him at was Inter in that really short spell after they had just won the treble, which was, you know,
and
recipe for disaster.
And I think Gasperini's outspoken nature typically works against him. But we've seen him, to be honest, speak a little bit out of line or recklessly at Roma already. But I believe if he can keep that under control, maybe they can actually work in harmony.
Maybe.
We'll see. But shall we move on to the next game? We have, of course, the big game. Yesterday's game, Napoli-Milan. And it was Napoli 1, Milan 0, of course. So let's start off by reading the lineups out. We have Milinkovic-Savic in goal for Napoli in a 3-4-2-1 formation with Juan Jesus, Bongiorno and Oliveira at the back, Gutierrez on the right, Spinazzola on the left with Anguissa and Lobotka in the middle, De Bruyne and McTominay stepping in behind Giovanni, who came in to replace Højlund, who was out with a virus very last minute, while Lukaku was still in Belgium. and they were missing quite a few important players. over here,
Totally,
bro.
man. I thought the injury problems were gone for Napoli. Then I looked at the starting lineup and I'm like, I don't
Yeah.
think they're gone at all.
Vergara, Neres, Rahmani, Di Lorenzo were also out, of course. This was quite a decimated side, of course.
Yeah.
For Milan, Tomori was suspended for this one, and Gabbia still could not make it, while Pulisic and Leao were only fit enough for the bench. God knows what their situation
I think
is.
you have a mistake there. Tomori was not suspended for this game. Tomori played this
No,
game.
why does it say accumulated yellow cards? Yeah. In fact, I remember him. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's
So,
true. It says that.
It says
How
that. Yeah,
fucking
that's
stupid
terrible.
that
Fuck
is.
sofa score.
Hey, man.
Okay, so yes, Manyan was in goal with, of course, Pavlovic, De Winter, and Tomori at the back. Bartezaghi on the left, Salamakers on the right, with Rabiot, Modric, and Fofana in the middle. Nkunku and Fulkrug starting together up front, bro.
Good
So,
choice.
what did you make of this lineup from the get-go?
I looked at the front too, and I'm like, it was perfect up until that moment. Perfect, of course, with Gabbia out injured, because I prefer Gabbia to the Winter. At least right now, I understand the Winter ceiling. But
The Winter has been one of the better centre-backs at the moment.
he has been,
defensively,
but
that-
Gabbia is the leader of that
Yeah.
defense. If Gabbia comes back, he walks straight back in, and then you need to have a conversation of, does the Winter displace Tomori?
Yes, I think that's how it goes,
Because
actually.
the Winter, we've seen him play right-sided in that Tomori role.
Yeah, I
as
prefer
well.
him there, to be honest.
Same. But the front two was a choice. Now, for me, Leao or Pulisic need to start. At least one of them needs to start, because they're the catalysts of the attack. You put together Nkunku and Fulkrug. You're putting together two flop signings.
Yeah,
That's
literally.
what you're doing. You're weakening
how it
the
goes.
team.
And I think that Nkunku he still plays with that little bit of fear.
Yep.
So for example, he had that one good chance this game where he took it too wide and he shot it too angled, simply because he was afraid to take the man on or to try to create that amount of space for him. It seems like more than trying to invent something, these players are trying to not make mistakes. And we'll get into it very soon. So let's start from the fact that Milan fans were actually banned from going to this game. Fans in Lombardy could not attend this game. Why, you may ask? Because of security measures, of course. This game was deemed as high risk by some committee. Apparently, so this was delegated to a police headquarters or something, and they deemed this event to be high risk, this game. And they banned the away fans from traveling.
Are you saying
Which-
that away fans were banned altogether?
For this one, fans traveling from Lombardy couldn't attend this game.
Okay, so Milan still had fans
Out
but
of
they
Lombardy,
couldn't have
exactly.
From Lombardy.
Exactly, which to me seems a little bit strange. Personally, I don't know why. In fact, the Napoli fans even put out a banner and said, "We want our rivals here to."
That's so
to-
odd. And
yeah.
we saw it happen with Genoa fans
Was it?
earlier this season as well, in a game against Lazio or Roma, if I'm not mistaken. We saw that happen. They
Uh-huh.
deemed it high risk because of some previous clash that they had with Inter fans. I don't know, man. I don't know.
It just seems
it just seems
just
rich
seems
coming from
seems
Napoli
that
fans.
Whenever it seems that whenever Milan have an important game like the Lazio one or something, there's always something. You know, Milan were going up against Lazio, who have been playing in a deserted Olimpico for ages. For that game, that's the only game in the last few months that they had a packed stadium with a vibe and a tifo. You know, it's just uncanny. It's crazy. Okay.
I know, bro. I know.
But
I
anyway,
know.
so Napoli won 1-0, and they moved up to second with 65 points, overtaking Milan, who are currently on 63 points and staying 7 points behind Inter with 7 games left. So this game was low quality, low chances. Napoli controlled the possession phase and dominated especially the second half, while Milan managed just one shot on target in the 6th minute through Fofana, and they created very, very little, despite some late pressure eventually when Allegri decided to bring on Leao and Pulisic and move to a 4-3-3, but it was very, very late. So the decisive moment for Napoli came in the 79th minute, actually, when Politano volleyed in at the back post after a poor De Winter header, where he headed the ball back to the back post essentially. Bartezaghi was caught flat-footed, of course, because he wasn't expecting the ball to come looping over him, and Politano snuck in behind to finish on the volley. Leading up to all of this, by the way, was Alisson Santos' no-look cross. By the way,
Hate that.
took it to the byline, looked, just crossed it in. Like, love that, man.
I love it. I think too much praise for it. I think his praise should come in his consistently electric performances. But
he's so fun
the
to watch.
oh my god, he was so instrumental in the goal because it's a no-look pass. It could have been a normal pass.
It
Like,
could
he
have
was
been normal.
inventive, whatever.
I think a
But
no-look
everyone's
is good.
glazing because of a no-look.
A no-look makes sense when you have a teammate where you're looking.
Yeah.
He looked and
I'm gonna pass it out.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
exactly,
give it a
I'm
goal
gonna
kick.
pass- exactly. Like there's no one there. Why are you pretending
It's
to look there?
showboating. It's showboating.
Yeah. So with this win, Napoli extended their run to 5 straight victories, while Milan dropped out of the top 2 for the first time since Matchday 11. So let's start off by discussing Napoli, bro. They had Giovanni as centre forward, and then later on McTominay moved up front. What did you think of his performance?
McTominay or Giovanni?
Giovanni.
Giovanni. I thought he had decent moments. I think he did better than I would have thought. I know there was a point where he had a chance to really get past Pavlovic, but Pavlovic got up well, got back well, made up ground well, and blocked his shot. I think it was a big ask for Jovane to go up against Milan's back three. And have any sort of a positive performance in this injury crisis, especially when you factor in that Milan's Allegri team, they're not exactly going to allow you too many opportunities for the counter. So if he has McTominay and De Bruyne behind him, who are supposedly there to feed him long balls, to play him behind the defense, which if they do, by the way, Tomori, De Winter and Pavlovic is quite a pacey back line. I don't think he was set up for much success over here. But considering I thought he held his own decently, I didn't expect much more from him than what he offered.
He especially did well at holding up play and running to hold up and wait for his teammates especially. And he had one shot where he really tested Mannion and forced him into a very good save, to be honest with you. But yes, Politano came on late and he said that Conte told him to go out there and take advantage of tired legs, and boy did he. And he has a knack of scoring against Milan, Politano. He does it often since his Sassuolo days.
Yeah.
And he did definitely exploit some fatigue or some maybe lack of concentration on Bartezaghi's part. But would you say that structurally Milan have a problem out wide, man, when it comes to defending those but like you have 3 centre backs in those pockets behind Salamakers and Bartezaghi? It's a little bit vulnerable, isn't it?
Yes. I mean, last year there was Theo, who was the CEO of fucking up in that area.
Yeah.
Bartezaghi is getting used to it. I think as much as you mentioned, and I agree with you, that De Winter's header should be fucking, not this, bro.
Yeah.
Fucking
Out.
head the ball out of the box. That's your box, man. Headed
Yeah.
the fuck out of there. Not like a walrus. He headed it like a wall. No, like a seal. Sorry,
Like a
seals are the ones. But as the left wing back, you cannot leave a player behind you
Yeah.
sneaking in there. You need
Yeah.
to be more sharp and alert than that.
Yeah.
2 young defenders. That's what you
Yeah.
get.
Yeah.
That's what you get.
I think Napoli did really well to not allow anything from Milan and to actually counter and make the most out of literally one individual mistake and what would have otherwise been a pretty flawless defensive display from Milan. And that's the harsh reality of it, man, that while it's true that Milan didn't really go for it and they didn't really create anything going forward, man, defensively they didn't let up much either, apart from this situation.
No, and like the game was as boring as it was. In fact, I just want to read out Daniel's comment on this, because he said this weekend's matches were like the coke and pill fueled nights out of the 90s and noughties. And then we got Allegri versus Conte as the inevitable come down. And that's an absolute fact, brother, because this is the... So going into this, I didn't have high expectations for fucking fireworks. I was not expecting a Derby d'Italia type of game or anything like that. Firstly, Milan don't seem to participate in those. Milan would rather be in the 1-0s or the 2-1s, or we never really see Milan in these thrilling encounters. With that said, I saw a lot of people describe this as a must-win for Milan. Look, it's a must-win for Milan if you think Milan are still in the title race. And Allegri doesn't.
He's made it abundantly
Allegri has
clear.
made it abundantly clear.
And
we are not going for a title. We are going for top 4. So this isn't a must-win for Milan. It's a must-not-lose.
Exactly.
So Allegri set up in a way that was a must-not-lose approach. Unfortunately, his must-not-lose approach backfired and he lost.
And boy, am I naive, because I didn't believe him. I thought he was being cheeky whenever he would say, our target is top 4. Our objective is top 4.
He played like it
I thought he was. He
played
did,
like
but
it.
then that's it. You see the way he's set up the team. He clearly thinks that the objective is top 4.
Yes.
And
And then, on the other hand, you have Conte, who, all right, he said, we want to defend our crown with honor. We're going to fight till the end and whatever. But you could see, this is what happens when two disruptors go head-to-head, where a loss would be much more devastating for both sides. I'm not going to call this a biscotto. It's not a biscotto, but it is two experienced managers being as cautious as it gets. And that led to us viewing a low quality affair. A lot of... I was watching the game, man, and I thought Premier League fans would actually kill themselves watching this game. Because a player on the ball, and there are 4 players in front of him just waiting. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Well, you expect him to clart the person on the ball.
The thing is that
No, a really boring game,
I
man.
think that the individual quality on the pitch let Allegri down this game as well.
Yeah.
Because there were 3 to 4 turnovers that happened high, and that comes from Allegri's system, Allegri's preparation, where you press and you win the ball high, and then it's up to the individuals to see what to do. And Pavlovic was interviewed after the game, and he literally said, we took too long to shoot. We didn't move the ball around fast enough, and that's it, man. They overthought every chance they had.
Yeah.
How many times did you shout out shoot when watching this game?
Oh, man.
And they
Stop.
simply wouldn't, man. And they would simply wait for the defender to come in or lose the ball. Yes. I think that they were in their heads a little bit. This is what happens when you play Nkunku, who's struggled with confidence all season, and Fulkrug, who hasn't really hit the ground running, of course. Milan right now have a problem with the attack, man. Milan's attack is low on confidence.
Absolutely, and
Completely.
that if that is not the next step for Milan, I know they're talking about if Modric doesn't stay on for another season, there definitely needs to be another midfield signing, so hopefully around that caliber. It has to be the striker role that needs to be addressed, because I'm telling you, and I'm telling you live on air, Milan fan, co-host of Serie Spotlight, whatever, I'm going to be honest, Fulkrug has sucked at Milan.
But Fulkrug has sucked. But have you seen someone cross the ball onto his head? Because the last time I saw
Yes.
someone cross the ball onto Fulkrug's head, he scored.
I have seen them cross the ball to his head in this game. All right, you know, but he's been a flop.
He has.
Milan. And
Regardless of why, he has.
And I'm
yes.
sorry, but like if you need to cross the ball to him for him to head the ball so that he has a higher chance of scoring, maybe Milan need a better rounded striker. So they bring on Santi Jimenez, who's also been a fucking flop. Who's next to him? Nkunku. He's been a flop. Who comes on? Leao and Pulisic, who in 2026
been flops.
have been worse than all those guys, man.
Yeah.
So it's a choice of 6 at the moment. I don't want to be disrespectful to them, because they all have their strengths and whatever, but 6 bloody idiots. I know when you're watching them, bro.
And
it's frustrating.
Someone joked, because Pulisic came on with and he had a beard randomly. Someone joked that in the international break we lost Pulisic and brought back Cotrone.
At least Cotrone would have scored one of those glancing headers. I want to read out some of Tyson. He's just
Please.
shit talking. He's the CEO of shit talking, even on the group chat. That no look is more than what any Milan player did, though.
Yeah, fair enough.
Sure. It was I guess the hockey assist.
It was the only thing that made me go, in the whole game.
But this I'll challenge. KDB sent Modric back to Croatia with that one play mid-game.
He did.
Okay, with that one play.
That
Did
one
you
play.
see KDB for the rest of the game?
Yes,
He
yes, yes.
stood out like a sore thumb.
Yes.
Like he played. He had a rubbish game of
And
football.
there
he
was
had one moment.
That
like,
moment was when he like fake shot and then played a perfectly weighted pass out wide. It was such a lovely pass. It was Fofana-esque, that pass.
It's true,
That's what
almost
it
as good as
was.
Fofana.
Modric
Modric had a moment where he started dribbling
Modric
everyone
dribbled
like
three
fucking-
players at
like
one point.
prime
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Modric.
I enjoy watching these unks, man. So Conte, of course, managed the injury crisis extremely effectively, bro. He said it's extraordinary that the team has stayed up there despite these absences, and he's absolutely right. It's crazy that Napoli have managed to remain relevant with what they've gone through. Allegri said it was a game with few chances, one moment decided it, and that's absolutely true. And he also said, Allegri, that the Scudetto is not for us now.
Okay.
Yeah. While
Cheers.
Conte said, we want to defend the Scudetto until the very end, but we must be realistic. Man. I want to talk about Conte and Allegri and how they handled the questions pre-match about the Italian national team, because they were both hammered about this. But if there's anything else you want to mention about the game, you can do so now before I move on.
Or forever hold my peace.
Or forever hold your peace.
Is there anyone I want to shit on? I thought Rabiot had a different role to play in this game. I don't know if you saw that. He was kind of playing off to the right a little bit more. Kind of seemed more in the pocket than where he usually is, dragging the ball forward. I felt he was more in pockets of space in this game.
I think that this game was just it was very conservatively set up, man. This team, and to be honest, man, early on, there was a moment where I forgot who it was. One Napoli player shimmied past Fofana, and Fofana was quite lackadaisical, and he just let him kind of go around him. And Rabiot did that thing where you kind of like slouch forward and extend your arms instead of actually pressing. Like he's like, I can't, that kind of thing. And I thought to myself, like, if these guys actually wanted to seize the moment, they would be playing with fire in their eyes right now. And I felt like Napoli had more fire. They wanted it more than Milan did. And that's it, right? That's it, man. Milan set up to not lose, and they lost. That's it. Now, when Allegri was asked about the Italian national team, he didn't outright say no. He said, you never know what's going to happen. But he said that he has a contract with Milan, and he's very happy, and he's focused on Milan at the moment. When Conte was asked about it, Conte said, if I were the FIGC, whatever the hell you call it, FICG, whatever, dyslexic apparently, he says, I would call me.
That's what he said.
He said, I would call me. He's like, yeah, I would call me. So he's definitely open to the idea. Let's just say that.
Tyson says in the chat last year, love to see Conte talk down the rumors with the national team, saying last year the media said I was joining Juventus.
Did say that.
This year they said it's the national team.
But he also said that if he were them, he would call himself.
I guess maybe that's a bit playful.
It is. But I do see him managing the Italian national team.
I see him as well, because he's kind of exhausting the roster of Italian teams to win the Scudetto with at this point. He's won it with Juve, Inter and Napoli. Next up, hey. But I mean, if he wants to be regarded as one of the greatest managers ever, or in the world right now, I think he needs to either go to a different country. I know he's already won it with Chelsea, the Premier League, which is fucking tough. But maybe to another league, try win the Champions League, or try win a trophy with the Nazionale. I think those are But he seems to have a really strong connection with Italian football.
He does.
I think it's
many
either
of these
another
managers,
Italian team or the Nazionale.
Yeah, a lot of these Italian managers tend to be like this. Then you have the outliers like Ancelotti, who wherever he goes, he finds success. Yeah, absolutely, bro. So we've already said where they are. We can actually move on to the next one.
Yeah, let's move on to Udinese and 0-0. This was a little
one Italian, just one Italian, just one.
There wasn't Zaniolo.
Yeah.
My God,
just
one,
just one Italian.
Unless we see one of those players become Italian tomorrow, go down to the passport office.
Yeah.
But Udinese are on a decent little run at the moment. Man, you look at their form: 2 wins, 2 draws, and 1 loss in their last 5. And before that, I believe they were on a 3-match losing streak. In this game, they missed Zanoli, Buxa, Zemura, and Davis. Como are now undefeated in 7 matches, where they have 5 wins. Of course, right now, consistency is crucial for them, as with this one simple draw, Juve are now just 1 point behind them. So you could never beat... Like, 5 wins and 2 draws in 7 matches, and the second you get a draw, Juve come just 1 point behind you. It
so
really
tight
is
right
an
now.
impossible
margins.
job, man.
Yeah.
And they missed Rodriguez, Addai, and Ramon. The previous encounter between these two sides was a 1-0 victory for Como. Udinese lined up in a 3-4-2-1. Maduka, Okoye in goal, backline of Solé, Kabasele and Christensen, Kamara on the left, Ezibua on the right, double pivot of Karlstrom and Piotrowski, with Atta and Eklinkamp playing behind Zaniolo. 4-2-3-1 for Fabregas, his men with Bute in goal and the backline of Smolcic, Diego Carlos, Kempf and Valle, Perron and Acuna on the double pivot, Diao on the right, Kakere on the left, and Paz playing behind Duvikas. It was a slow game, to be honest, with a few clear-cut chances for either side. Udinese frustrated Como with a low block, exposing their lack of target man or aerial prowess. Udinese threatened on the counter, but typically had to force a shot from a wide angle, typically off to the left-hand side, as they were putting a lot of pressure on Como's right-hand side. Como had a big chance in the 86th minute, but Vojvoda fluffed it by attempting a first-time lob rather than taking it down or squaring it or anything of the sort. But that was pretty much it for this game. In fact, I don't want to take too long on this.
First
game.
of all, this game happened on Monday at 12:30.
Yeah.
So which was just
I was working, man.
Yeah, I was working too. I missed it, but what I did manage to see was Atta's performance, thanks to some lovely extended highlights provided on Twitter. Funnily enough, Atta is really becoming a nice player, man. The season has truly been his breakout season, and we mentioned it in pre-season that he has been really impressing and actually scoring quite regularly, and to keep an eye on him. He is kind of like a mini budget Pogba regen.
I
the way
know
he
what
plays,
you mean.
you know?
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, he's so powerful and technical, and he's just so much fun to watch on this Udinese team.
And he's contracted to Udinese. It's no sort of loan.
No, he's theirs. He's been there.
Atta
This is his second season there, I believe.
I want to have a look and see when his contract runs out. He's under contract until June 30th, 2029. Udinese are going to make some good money off him in the future.
Yeah.
It was a successful loan spell from Metz until he completed a permanent move to Udinese in 2025, where he earns an estimated annual gross salary of 560k. Well, I think he'll try to negotiate a new contract soon, although he's still got 3 full years left on that one, so he might have shot himself in the foot by accepting it.
Yeah, clubs are going to come running though very soon.
It is the good thing about Udinese, because with Runjaic, it seems like that they've kept that defensive organization and physicality in their team. You know, the three at the back, the Solé, the Kabasele, the Christensen, Karlstrom, Piotrowski, just strong fucking players. And then you've got the inventive trident of Eklinkamp, who... Eklinkamp is the kind of player that you don't notice him all game, and then he just gets a goal out of nowhere.
Yeah, then he just curls it in.
He's a very, very clutch player. He's on every single set piece as well. He's great. The inventive Arthur Atta, and the very direct Arthur Atta, and Nicolo Zaniolo, who is wherever he feels like being on the pitch, dragging the ball forward, taking shots from distance. This guy, I'd love to see how many shots he gets per game.
He's industry manifest. He is, bro. This game he had 1 shot, but no, he more than shots getting off. He does a whole lot of pressing, man. Like distance covered, right? He presses to oblivion, man. And sometimes, man, I look at these Italians scattered around the league, and I wonder if there was a place for them in this Italian national team. And I'm talking about the likes of some players that would have never been considered. Players who have been carrying the have been carrying stress and pressure and keeping teams afloat, for example, season after season. I'm
spoke
talking about the
about
likes
Del
of
Prato
Del Prato, for
before,
example.
they
You know
say.
what I mean?
Del Prato, Fagioli, Zaniolo.
You would
should have
think
been
that
there.
maybe if they, there are players in the national team who don't even play. So why not take these mini mentality monsters? I mean, it's not easy being the captain of a relegation side and keeping them up. Even the likes of someone like Baschirotto. I don't know. I'm not saying start Baschirotto Del Prato with the national team, but these are players that you might want to consider. Zaniolo is a hard man. Zaniolo is an animal.
Yeah,
You don't have many players with testicles on this Italian national team, and you have
what testicles? Tonali is the one with testicles.
Tonali and
that's it.
Mancini, I guess, are the players who
artificial.
actually don't mind going toe to toe
Yeah.
with the opposition. But sometimes, man, I don't know, man. I feel like when the obvious decisions are made, they're not always the best ones.
I agree, and Italy, I feel like, need a manager to make these calls. Gattuso said, I'm going for the safe options, I'm going for the guarantees. Sorry, but there's no such thing as a guarantee. What do you mean? I'm going for the players that are going to... Okay, it's a guarantee that... I forget who they were even against, bro. Who are they against?
Who are you talking? Bosnia?
Against Bosnia and Herzegovina. The guarantees would get you a fucking victory against... Bastoni's a guarantee. He gets sent off. Donnarumma's a guarantee. He doesn't save a penalty. Obviously not blaming Donnarumma. But back to Udinese. Udinese have beaten this season Inter, Roma, Napoli, Fiorentina and Atalanta. But then they lost twice to Sassuolo, which is why they're in 11th and not 10th. This is too recent memory. Udinese's best season. Even that season where they had started off so well with Sotil, they crumbled after that. But this is the most consistent I've seen Udinese. It's the most successfully offensive that I've seen Udinese. It's an Udinese that smell blood and get victories. Udinese didn't used to win games, bro. They had 18 draws last year. And it was that was Runiaic setting the foundation. Zaniolo was such a crucial signing. Atta finding his feet was so important. I'm honestly really enjoying Udinese this season.
And their scouting and transfer strategy has definitely worked recently, and they're buying young profiles, international profiles. Man, they are quite worldwide as a club, quite international. Man, they've got many different players, kind of like what Bologna used to do back in the day under Mihailovic. They had players from all over the world in every position. So it's an interesting project, and I wonder how far they will go, and I wonder how ambitious it is, because they are a club that actually owns their own stadium. So
yeah, and they have relatively new owners as well, because Pozzo sold to an American group.
Yes, okay.
They escape me right now, but they definitely did. Interestingly, Como remain winless in Udinese's Serie A history. 0 wins in 11 matches, so that's a psychological barrier. I wonder how much Fabregas knew about that and used it to motivate his players. And I also just want to give a special shout out to Kamara. He's a man that doesn't get too much love. He's typically known to be one of the more industrious players, but I'll tell you what, that he is. Carrying the ball forward on counters and starting movements alike. He was the guy. He was the guy to do that on the pitch.
He's been very good lately for Udinese, man. He's kind of been their Wesley.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's you guys know I love a player that carries the ball forward, from his own half. And he had a total carrying distance of 200 meters in this game, 129.3 meters in total progression and 76.1 meters in progressive carrying distance. And in case you're wondering, like, what does that even mean? I'm not good with distances or whatever. These statistics versus anyone else that was on the pitch destroyed them.
Yeah,
absolutely destroyed them. Just one comment on Como before we move on, / one question for you regarding Como. Are we going to start seeing towards the last 7 matches of the season as Spalletti's Juve and Fabregas's Como are going head-to-head with 1 point between them? Not head-to-head as in the teams are playing each other, but with 7 games left to go, in a consistency race, are we going to see the inexperience of Como and Fabregas here?
That could definitely be the case, man. Spalletti has been through it, has been through the ringer. And the Juve, when they're united, they play really well, to be honest with you. And even the losses they have had under Spalletti, I don't recall them being outplayed heavily. You know what I mean? They tend to they have their weaknesses. In fact, we're about to discuss them now. And they were 2-0 up against Genoa, and they hit the ground running, and they did really well. But towards the end, they were a little bit shaky, man. And so
shall we jump to them?
We can, to be honest.
I'll say, of course,
but to answer your question, I would say currently it's 1 point.
It's 1 point between
I
them.
wouldn't bet against Juve, man, is my point.
I don't think I'll ever bet against Juve for a top 4, man.
You made a great point of air that when was the last time Juve finished out of the Champions League?
Even when they didn't make Champions League most recently, they made Champions League and they
Technically,
got fucked
on
by
paper.
the system.
Exactly.
No, Juve are a guarantee. I know in my prediction to be sexy and to be hot shit. In our prediction episode, I said Roma will get 4th. But anyway, whatever. So Como are in 4th currently on 58 points, while Juve are in 5th on 57 points. That's to set the scene. Udinese, of course, in 11th on 40.
Yes. So it was Juve 2, Genoa 0 this game. So we had Perin in goal for Juventus, with Kalulu, Bremer, Kelly and Cambiaso playing at the back, Locatelli playing in front of the defence, Conceição on the right, Yildiz on the left, with McKennie and Thuram playing off the shoulders of Jonathan David. For Genoa, it was Bilo in goal, a flat back 5 of Martin, Vasquez, Ostigard, Marcandalli and Ellertson, Junior Messias on the right, Vitinha on the left, Malinovsky and Frendrup playing behind Colombo. So it took a grand total of 1 minute for Jonathan David to make the crowd groan. He must be great in bed, huh? 1 minute in and everyone's groaning. But the game was decided quite early, effectively. It was Bremer who headed in a Kelly cross just 4 minutes in. While this was happening, Colombo was on the floor, holding his shoe up in the air, going, "Oh, oh, look!" Because basically what happened is Colombo and Bremer clashed in a duel right before the goal, and Colombo hit the ground, and his shoe came off. Even though there wasn't a foul, because it was checked by VAR, and to be honest, I watched the replay and I couldn't see a clear foul.
No.
But Colombo thought that because his shoe came off, he was entitled to a foul. So he's on the floor keeping Bremer unmarked and onside. The cross comes in again. Bremer just rises in the air and scores when Colombo was meant to be marking him.
The rule, because we looked it up, because I was of the opinion, but you made a good point about how it would be abused.
You could just take off your shoe, right?
You just everyone would take their shoes off every time they get close to someone. They'd remove a lace, like.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, like, his shoe came off. Is he supposed to run and go make a tackle with one shoe on?
Unfortunately, yes.
Is he supposed to risk getting stomped on again with one of those blades on his bare sock?
But you know, man, you get
one.
stomped on and you win the foul. You know what I mean? Fuck it. Fuck your foot. You know, this is what you paid for.
I guess so. Yeah. I just Colombo, I see your point. Your shoe is literally off.
He's
bro.
like, my shoe's off. I'm not going anywhere near
like,
Bremer right now.
Would the ref let you on the pitch with one shoe? No. You know?
Fair. Okay, let us know what you think, guys, because it's an interesting point. People might argue that some of these professional players grew up playing with no shoes, but anyway.
I guess.
So yes, and then it was McKennie who finished a lovely counter from 12 yards in the 17th minute. This was a really smooth and narrow counter attack from Juve, man. Really nice counter. When they're flowing like this, they do really well. Yildiz had a goal like this recently as well. So Juve controlled large phases of the game. They had 62% ball possession with 16 shots and 5 of them on target, but they failed to extend the lead. They missed a bucket load of chances, particularly through McKennie, who could have had a hat-trick, and I'm not saying this lightly. He literally missed 2 empty posts. He was quite unlucky, bar his goal. And this kept Genoa alive. Now, in the second half, Perin went off for Di Gregorio. I assume Perin suffered some kind of injury, and Di Gregorio came off, who's been low on confidence and who was Spalletti's number 1 originally, but has since been benched by Perin. And it was Bremer who gave away a penalty in the 75th minute, really putting pressure on Di Gregorio, to do something and redeem himself. Aaron Martin stepped up. He shot right. Di Gregorio flew. He shot left. He shot left, exactly. Di Gregorio flew and saved it expertly.
Yeah.
The ball remained in play. A cross came in, and once again it was Aaron Martin who volleyed, and Di Gregorio once again sprung to life and saved it again. And you could see in this moment that the entire Juve team just rejoiced around Di Gregorio and really celebrated with him. You see Locatelli pressing his head against Di Gregorio's, and Di Gregorio looked like he was moved to almost tears, quite frankly.
Yeah, man.
A very powerful moment, and this is what we love about football. These little storylines, these side stories, these players who would be so low on confidence who just spring to life and keep their team in it, It's beautiful.
100%, man. And like, imagine that. Imagine being, because in football you experience the lowest lows, because it's personal, especially goalkeepers. It's such a lonely position, man. Like if Bastoni makes a mistake at the back, or let's use a Juve player for context. Let's say Bremer makes a mistake at the back. You go, oh, but the defense should be drilled better. If a goalkeeper keeps conceding simple shots because they just keep having off days, it's the loneliest position in the world. There's no one else to blame but the goalkeeper. It would be a real stretch to say, they shouldn't have shot from half pitch, you know what I mean? But then it goes from the lowest of low, where everyone's attacking you personally, to suddenly you're saving a penalty in a must-win game to keep the chase on Como for the Champions League. And you go from zero to hero real quick. And these, out of the times, they could be the start of a turning point for players. Let's hope that's the case for Di Gregorio, because he is a top 3 Italian goalkeeper, typically, in my opinion.
Usually, yes. And he was hailed by many Juventini to be the goalkeeper of the future. But it goes to show how quickly narratives change after a poor few months, right?
Yeah.
People start freaking out, especially when it's your keeper, man. There's nothing worse than not trusting your keeper. Ask an Inter fan, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Granted, Sommer rolled back the years, or rolled back last year. Rather. Last match. What a save, yeah. So it was Bremer, by the way, who had given away the penalty, continuing his iffy form, Maybe he'll just start playing as a striker nowadays. He's so good in the air.
Literally, man.
Genoa ended the game with 3 shots on target from 12 attempts, and they have now missed 4 out of 8 penalties this season.
Oh my god.
Yeah, not a good record at all. Not a good return.
Terrible. Just put Malinovsky on them, bro.
Literally. And shout out to Milik, while you have people who, most players who wouldn't have featured regularly for Juve over the last few years would probably be struggling for confidence and would be playing it safe. Then you have the likes of Milik, who gets the ball at half pitch and just shoots. It's incredible. Love it. And he got close. It was a very good shot from half pitch.
Yeah, Milik there. Unused substitutes, man. Cope Miners, Cabal, Vlahovic, Zegrova, Gatti, Openda. If this was 2 years ago, that would be one hell of a bench, man.
Literally. So strong early start from Juve. They attacked vertically. They won second balls. They were very structured and they did very well. I thought Locatelli had a good game, as he typically does. He dictated the tempo. He won most of his duels. His long distribution was very good this game, and he tends to be a good player. Do you rate Locatelli, man?
I think Locatelli's having a good season. I think he's overall just a bit limited. I don't think Locatelli solves many problems in a team. I think he could be a clean, simple passer of the ball. I don't think he particularly has crazy range or crazy vision, but he's quite press resistant, and for Juve it seems like no matter how much the team changed, he's always been the manager's favorite. So there are good leadership qualities, a good mentality within him. I think technically you could find, for example, technically in many ways Fagioli would be better than him.
Yeah, fair enough. I wouldn't say that that's a crazy shout, to be honest. Fagioli is definitely more modern.
Yeah.
as a deep line.
He has
playmaker.
more range, I think, as well.
More mobile.
More mobile. But then you look at
Locatelli would give you a little bit more industry though,
but
defensively.
then when Locatelli was played as a box-to-box for Italy in that Euros, for example, even went on to score a brace.
true.
So maybe it's the position he's playing that limits him. And even at Milan, he was more of a box-to-box.
This is the age-old question, because when Biglia was injured for Milan, it was Locatelli playing as the regista, and when everyone was saying no, he's meant to be a mezzala. But then he seemed to play better as a regista back then, in my opinion. So I don't know.
Depends
Who knows
on the
what
weather,
Locatelli
depends on the day, depends what
Yeah.
shoes he's wearing, the
Exactly.
opposition.
Depends on Colombo's shoe. Depends on everything. I thought that Genoa particularly struggled with wide overloads despite playing a flat 5-4-1 out of possession.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell can you do? And that point. But yes, this was a pretty convincing victory for Juve at the end of the day. That could have gone sour. It could have been a little bit scary at the end of the game, but Di Gregorio stepped up big and kept his side in it.
Totally, man. Important victory for Juve. They created a good amount of chances. They could have had more than two. It continues to show their problem of scoring goals. But they scored enough in the first half and played it out for the rest of the game, right?
Spalletti's contract, by the way, bro, is being negotiated. I think it's a good move. They're not going to get much better than him.
Totally.
Yeah. Okay, so when it comes to the standings,
I can tell you that.
thank you. If you have it available, yes, please. 'Cause
Yes.
I just opened Juve Stabia over here.
Juve are in 5th, as you know, 1 point behind Como. Genoa are in 14th on 33 points, 6 above 18th place Lecce.
Excellent.
Let's jump to Lecce nil Atalanta 3. Lecce's near impossible fixture run continues, having recently played Inter, Como, Napoli, Roma, and now Atalanta, with Bologna and Fiorentina upcoming. Again, 0 points collected. They missed Camarda, Gallo, Sotil, Gaspar, and Berisha to make matters worse. Palladino's side continue their convincing performances and results, averaging 2 points per game in Serie A since the young manager joined the club. They missed Hien and Scamacca in this game. I love how, by the way, when we're talking about who should start for Italy, etc., we're obviously speaking about the playoffs, but totally forgot Scamacca as an option. Scamacca
it's the
Retegui.
fact that he's
Scamacca
unavailable.
Keane.
Yeah.
Insane. Previous encounter between these two sides was Atalanta 4, Lecce 1. 4-2-3-1 formation for Lecce. Falcone and goal, back of Ndaba, Gabriel, Siebert, and Vega. Ngom and Ramadani as the centre midfield partnership, with Banda and Pierotti flanking Fofana, and ahead of them Kedira. 3-4-2-1 formation for Atalanta, Carnesecchi in goal, backline of my boy Giorgio Scalvini, Jim City and Kolasinac. Zappacosta out on the right, Bernasconi on the left, midfield 2 of their own, and Ederson with the Ketelare and Zalewski playing behind Nikola Krstovic. Atalanta opened the scoring through Giorgio Scalvini, who ran from his own box to finish at the Ketelare assist on the counter. Krstovic then doubled the lead from 12 yards on a through ball from the Ketelare, bowing to his former Lecce fans instead of celebrating. And then Raspadori wrapped up the 3-0 win, rifling a close-range shot to the roof of the net after a flowing move involving Ederson and the Ketelare. I want to, it's almost the only thing I want to talk about. De Ketelare, picking up where he left off before his meniscus injury. 2 assists and a very available and direct display by the Belgian. Particularly, I thought his relationship with Krstovic looked good. Nothing out of the ordinary, but those short passes to Krstovic on the turn were very effective. I liked De Ketelare's movement. I thought he was always available and always in a position to play something direct. And yeah, I thought it was really good to have him back. I thought before his meniscus injury, he had just come to life under Palladino, particularly in the Champions League. He was doing brilliantly. And then, to instantly come back from the injury and have this influence in the game, I think is a great sign. Because he's a player, he could play as a second striker, he could play as a winger, he could play behind the striker. He's such an asset when he's on, man.
He really is, man. And he has been one of the best players in the league in bursts because he hasn't been the most consistent player in the world. But when he's on, man, and he can do it all up front when he's thriving and full of confidence and operating in that tandem behind the striker, particularly. You know, not as a lone player behind two strikers, but behind the striker with another guy on his left. That's perfect for the
With Gasperini, he played up front too as well, where he looked.
Yes, he was
really
actually
good in the front
used to
too.
stretch. Yes, that's true.
But I don't think Juric played him to his strengths or to his advantages, because when Palladino came in, who has a tendency of understanding his players a bit better, even Gasperini has that quality in him. But when he's backed the Ketelare, when he's properly backed, we saw him not backed on 2 occasions, with Pioli and with Juric.
I mean, to be fair to Pioli, he tried, man. De Ketelare was playing almost every game.
He tried until he was bringing him on for 5 minutes at the end
It
of the
could have
game.
gone.
He tried until he was doing 90 minutes without making a single substitution.
What happened?
With De Ketelare
What
on the bench.
happened with De Ketelare and Milan is an absolute tragedy, and it's so unjust because De Ketelare, I think it was his 3rd game for Milan. One of the first few games, he had scored a goal that was ruled off unjustly. Had that gone in, his confidence would have, because all he needed was that one goal. And I remember everyone, I remember the whole stadium clapping every time he got the ball just to try to encourage him because of how frustrating it had got with him being so wasteful. But yes, his last 2 seasons with Atalanta were much better, of course, than this season. However, in 34 matches, he has scored 5 goals and provided 7 assists, which isn't bad at all. So
it's very good.
Still
It's
a
very
good
considering the season Atalanta have had, in the sense that they didn't have the smoothest of starts. No, but I wanted to highlight the Ketelare specifically because I thought that was a beautiful performance. Of course, shout out goes to Krstovic, who it's not easy taking a jump from a team like Lecce to Atalanta and being as consistent as Krstovic has been. And I'm not talking about because of the amount of goals he scored for Atalanta, but even the influence he had for them in the Champions League, where he single-handedly got them to the next round by inserting his face in that dangerous scenario. I thought Krstovic was bang for their buck signing. Scalvini is back, not because he scored a goal, but even, bro, he was giving these long looping passes. He gave one to CDK at a point when Krstovic missed that chance. Just that distribution from the back and that confidence and that running from the back into those pockets of space when nobody's picking up the right centre back, that's the Scalvini that we know and love.
The composure.
Bro, man, you saw how he cut, how he floored the defender before he struck
like
it
a
in.
striker, man.
It's not normal for a defender to have that composure in front of goal. This guy had 2 devastating injuries, Scalvini, man. If fit, the sky is the limit for him. He's one of the most technically able defenders I've seen. Raspadori, of course, shout out to him for the goal. But now a bit to the bigger picture. Atalanta, so they keep the pressure on Roma, right? They're 1 point behind them and 4 behind Juve. Guess who they play in the next 2 matches?
Yes, they have 2 fucking tough ones. Tell me.
They have they're 1 point behind Roma and 4 behind Juve. Next, they play Juve and then they play Roma.
But this is what they would want. The ball is in their court.
Totally.
Literally.
Yeah,
And
2
now we'll see
six-pointers.
what they're made of, because prior to the previous 2 games, they had lost to Sassuolo and drawn to Lazio, I believe, something like that. So they weren't, and then they had that tough spell against Bayern Munich, whatever. But thankfully that's over. So now they can finally maybe build on this positive momentum.
Yes, I also want to mention that I believe in between those 2 games they have it comes
that's
right after. It comes
after,
right
exactly.
after. Brilliant for them,
They've
that
got
game
the
against
Coppa.
Lazio.
Yeah.
So they
Coppa
play.
second leg, of course, for those who don't know.
So they play Juve at home and then they play Roma away at the Olimpico.
Listen to this.
yeah.
Listen to this. So this is from StatMuse. Okay, these are players with 20 plus goals and 20 plus assists in the last 4 Serie A seasons.
Thierry Henry.
Paulo Dybala, Rafael Leao, Christian Pulisic, and now Charles De Ketelare. Now, of course, you would say, what the hell?
Hey,
where is everyone?
Lautaro, eh?
So Lautaro hasn't made it because he's on 73 goals and 16 assists. That's why. Çalhanoğlu, for example, is on 30 goals and 18 assists. DiMarco, 19 goals, 31 assists, so one more goal, and DiMarco's there. Thuram, 16 assists, 35 goals, okay, etc., etc. But it's interesting that Dybala, Leao, Pulisic, and now De Ketelaere are the only players in Serie A in the last 4 seasons who have scored 20 plus goals and got 20 plus assists.
Incredible, great stat, brother.
Yeah.
Quick note on Ederson.
He's off to Atletico, right?
It seems like he's agreed some personal terms with Atletico Madrid. I mean, it's good that Simeone has noticed that Atalanta is the place to go shopping. Atalanta is London. Atalanta, you know, Atalanta's the thrift store where you find...
Thrifts are on my ass. They're expensive, bro.
To the
think
Prem,
Ederson would be cheap?
Ederson won't be cheap, but bro, the fines that you get at Atalanta, bro.
Yeah.
They got Lookman for 40 million from there, which for Atleti, who have spent 90 million on Julian Alvarez. Atleti have spending power, you know. They've signed top quality players. They don't have, their revenue margins aren't much better than Milan's, but they actually spend money, you know. You know, for them, signing Ederson for 30 million, you know, for 40 million
could be worth.
Amazing signing.
Yeah.
Brilliant signing.
Absolutely.
And he really
the thing
fits
is,
them.
I'm a little bit traumatized from buying from shopping from Atalanta. You know, of course, being a Milan fan, we've seen the likes of Conti, we've seen the likes of Caldara. You know, but of course
going the other way, and then you see the likes of, you know,
Bastoni, exactly. Frank Kessie.
Was a great one
Frank
for
Kessie
Milan.
was Superman. I miss Kessie every bloody day.
Cristante was there. No, was Cristante there?
Cristante was there, of course.
Was there as well.
Now reunited with Gasperini.
Yeah, cute.
Very cute. Now, shall we move on?
I'm just gonna say Lecce have they're below Cremonese now into the bottom 3, albeit level on points. Relegation would mean Eusebio Di Francesco was relegated 3 times in a row. Relegation would mean not having Lecce in Serie A for a 5th consecutive season, as this is their 4th season in Serie A right now. Let me just go through the remaining fixtures of Lecce.
So we have
and
had
Atalanta.
them for...
We have had them for
4 years.
Next season would be their 5th. I'd really want them to have a 5th.
Same.
I just want to read out the remaining fixtures of Cremonese and Lecce, because they're the remaining 2 candidates for relegation.
Yes,
let's be honest.
as it stands.
Verona and Pisa are, in my eyes, down. They're both on 18 points.
It would take a miracle.
There's no way. There's no way. Not Davide Nicola's dad won't manage that.
Cagliari are down there as well, huh?
They are down there.
So Cagliari, that game against Cremonese is massive, but these are the fixtures of Lecce and Cremonese. Let's
go. So let's start with Lecce. Away to Bologna, home to Fiorentina, away to Verona, away to Pisa, home to Juve, away to Sassuolo, home to Genoa. As you could see, they got their major tough ones out of the way, but there's Bologna, Fiorentina, and Juve that are very tough for them. The rest, you know, they've got Verona, they've got Lecce, they've got Pisa. There are a few doable ones. Sassuolo, Genoa.
Some doable games, some winnable games.
Yeah. For Cremonese, Cagliari away, Torino home, Napoli away, Lazio home, Pisa home, Udinese away, Como home. Very, very fucking give me a play out. Give me a play out.
I don't think my heart can handle a play out.
That's bro. My heart can't handle it, but I know it can.
Lecce, I want Lecce to stay. I want Cremonese to go down, basically. I want Cagliari and Lecce to survive. You?
Oh, same. Totally.
Yeah.
Serie spotlight, baby.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, Lecce in 18th on 27 points, level with Cremonese, while the other team that I covered, being Atalanta, are in 7th on 53 points, 1 behind Roma and 6th.
Abso-friggin-lutely. Now we can move on to the next game, which is Cremonese, speaking of, 1 Bologna 2. Did we plan this? How was every game like flowing?
You team put together the rundown, bro. You just own it.
I think it was the Lord working through me.
You believe in the Lord?
No. So it was Caprile in goal for Cagliari in their 3-5-2 formation.
Did you say the game you're covering?
Yes, it's
Ah,
Cremonese, Bologna. Christ, man. Cremonese, Bologna. So, yes, this was another game that was action-packed with red cards. We had some themes this week. Unexpected heroes, early goals, and double reds. Those were the
Yes.
themes of the week.
Yes.
Yes, so it was Cremonese 1, Bologna 2, with Audero in goal for Cremonese and a back four of Terracciano, Bianchetti, Luperto and Pezzella. Grassi was in front of the defence with Zerbin on the right, Male on the left, with Van de Putte playing in the trequartista role and Bonazzoli and Juric starting together up front. For Bologna, it was Ravaglia in goal with Miranda on the left, João Mario on the right, Lukumi and Vitic as the centre-back partnership with Freuler playing in front of them, Jonathan Rowe on the left with Bernardeschi on the right, Som and Moro playing behind Castro. So João Mario actually scored his first goal in Italian football just 3 minutes into this game from a Miranda cross, a lovely Miranda cross, and this would prove to be a theme this game as the wide overloads really killed Cremonese. And this is the Bologna we know.
Yep.
Moving the ball quickly, getting it out wide and creating a lot of danger and these shifts from one wing to another. So Rowe finished another Miranda cutback to double the lead in the 16th minute and Moro smashed the crossbar from a free kick shortly after. Bologna generated 14 shots with 7 of them on target to Cremonese's 9 with 3 on target and led 63% ball possession. Bonazzoli converted a 91st minute penalty after Ravaglia fouled Floriani Mussolini, but after that, Bonazzoli scored the penalty. Top bins, beautiful. Top corner, obviously, Bonazzoli is capable of doing that. Another random player you might want, maybe, 5 minutes left. We have a shootout coming up. I've never seen Bonazzoli miss a penalty. You know what I mean? Bring him on, fuck it. Dude, it would be hilarious to just build an Italian national team with these misfits,
Yeah, Bernardeschi, I'm just seeing him there as well.
Yeah.
Why not?
Fuck
He
it,
had
fuck
nailed
it.
the penalty
Fuck
in the
it.
Euros.
Fuck
it.
Why is Brian Cristante taking a penalty, But anyway. So yes, Bonazzoli took this penalty and injured his foot. So they had 3 minutes to get to equalize. Shortly after that, Male got caught elbowing a player in the face and was sent off. And shortly after that, the match was disrupted yet again for a double yellow on Ferguson. So the momentum really died after Bonazzoli's goal. So it actually ended, Bologna 2, Cremonese 1. That left-sided overload, brother.
That's what it was all about, bro. And that left-sided overload meant that Terracciano, who was playing
And
right
Zerbin,
back,
poor guys, man.
and Zerbin got absolutely nailed. I'll tell you what, man. Rowe is a player that hasn't absolutely settled yet, but I'll say it and I'll keep on saying it. You could see the qualities that this guy can bring.
He has flashes, and he's been scoring lately.
flashes and good quality. And I think actually I like the balance that someone like Rowe on one side and then Bernardeschi gives you on the other side. In an ideal world, it wouldn't be Bernardeschi on that side, it would be Orsolini. But it seems like Italiano's really taken a fucking decision there, man.
He has, and I don't blame him. Orsolini's form has been really poor.
He started so well,
He
dude.
did.
This is like Leao and Pulisic syndrome, where they're just having such good starts, especially Pulisic. He had such a good start to the season, and they're falling off as January approaches.
It could be the strain, and I mean we've seen this a lot, man. Players burst into form and then disappear. I mean, it takes a lot to perform regularly at the highest level, with the amount of games there are, with the amount of intensity of training, with the intensity of the match days themselves. I think this all takes a toll, and I feel that many of these players would be playing injured, man. That's my take. That they're in constant pain.
Playing on painkillers,
Yeah, and Soule said recently he had to take some time off because he had been playing on anti-inflammatory medication, essentially,
God,
and painkillers, and he decided to take some time off to fully recover, and now he can't wait to serve Milan. So,
I'm recording with a sore throat today. It's the equivalent.
Yeah. So Cremonese tried to make some second half adjustments to increase the pressure in the box. They brought on Thorsby, and just after a few minutes, poor Thorsby got injured, so they ended up taking, I believe it was Van de Putte out for Thorsby, and then Thorsby out for Paero. They brought on Okereke as well, and they produced a few close range shots, but still only 3 on target overall. So they struggled a little bit to create, and Bologna kind of outplayed them, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and there's no surprise, to be honest, by this result. It was actually refreshing to see Cremonese actually score a goal. But an important win for Bologna, in the sense that their form, it hasn't been great, and they're not where they want to be. But we've seen them improve recently. The fact that they've advanced in the Europa League. They beat Sassuolo away in the last game. They disappointingly lost to Lazio last time round, but back to winning ways now, albeit against Cremonese, and they had to get a player sent off in the meantime. But we look at what's upcoming for them. They play Aston Villa in the Europa League this week, actually. In 2 days' time, Bologna,
I was looking
Aston
for their
Villa.
kit, but I can't find it.
That's gonna be an amazing watch, bro. And then they play Lecce after that, and then they've got a few tough games in Juve and Roma.
We are all Bologna in Europe, my friends. We need them to go all the way. It's the only way that they can actually get Europe next season. And I've been enjoying seeing their beautiful stadium under the European lights. So we are all Bologna.
Come on, Bologna.
We are all Soriano.
If
What a
you
random name to have on my kit.
I
right?
remember you getting it, bro. I bought a cap from there, I remember. And I bought a Sassuolo kit. You got a Soriano kit and a Sassuolo kit as well.
Yes, I did.
Hilarious.
Indeed. But yes, that is it. So Bologna have moved up to 8th with 45 points. They are 5 points from 7th, while Cremonese remain in 17th and vulnerable.
Oh, they hopped over Lazio again. Lazio had hopped over them, and now Bologna have hopped over them again.
They're playing leapfrog, a fun little
Again,
game of
man,
leapfrog.
like Lazio are on a fucking unbeaten run at the moment. I believe they haven't lost in their past 4 or 5 games, where they have 3 victories, including victory over Milan, etc.
Granted, the last one was a draw, but yeah.
Yeah. But
Unbeaten,
that's my point. Like, and then you slip up for one game with a draw,
yes.
and then you get shafted.
Fine
And
margin.
over to Lazio Parma, 1-1.
Incredible.
Lazio entered this.
Who prepped this?
Lazio entered this match on a 3-game winning streak. I didn't know that. And looking the best they have all season on their Serie, let's be honest. In this match, they missed Rovella, Zaccagni, Provedella, and Gigot. Gigot's been injured all season, eh?
Gigot, it's unclear what's happened to him.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, it is.
But he's
unclear.
been injured from match day 1, I'm quite sure. Parma haven't won a match since they fucking destroyed Milan and handed Milan their 2nd loss of the season on February 22nd. Since then, they have 2 draws and 3 losses. They missed Troilo and Cremaschi in this game. The previous encounter between these two sides was a 1-0 victory for Lazio away from home, and it was a 9-man Lazio where Tiani Noslin got the winner against all odds. You all remember it fondly, I'm sure, unless you're a Parma fan.
Shout out Tyson.
4-3-3 formation for Lazio with Motta in goal, and a backline of Tavares, Profsgaard, Romagnoli and Marusic, a midfield three of Kenneth Taylor, Cataldi and Delabashiru, with Pedro and Isaacson flanking Daniel Maldini. 3-5-2 formation for Cuesta's men, Zion Suzuki in goal, and the backline of Del Prato, Circati and Valenti, Valeri on the left, Bridgky on the right, and the midfield three of Bernabe, Caviglia and Keita, and the front two of Pellegrino and Strefezza. Parma struck early through Enrico Del Prato, El Capitano, who reacted quickest to a loose ball from a set piece and finished low into the corner. That's the exact start you want as Cuesta and as Parma. Get that set piece goal in, and then you can aim to frustrate, especially a side like Lazio who don't have that reference point up front, who are playing with Pedro on the left and Daniel Maldini down the middle, and don't have, that big Tati Castellanos up front, technically gifted, press resistant that you can play that
Yeah.
ball to. In fact, Lazio struggled for full rhythm until the second half, when Noslin came off the bench and grabbed the equalizer on 77 minutes, his shot taking a huge deflection of Circati to wrong foot the keeper and make it 1-1, a stroke of luck for Lazio. But firstly, and hilariously, Noslin with another goal against Parma. I'm sure Parma fans are
Having nightmares.
dreaming about
Yeah.
him, man. Well, having nightmares about him, rather. But what did you make of my comment about... So actually, let me rephrase that. This is the continuous issue for Lazio, and the same issue Milan have had in the past 2 seasons, notably this season. Breaking down low blocks. Persistent problem. Parma, Lecce, Cagliari,
Yeah.
too many games to count. And this kind of comes with the insistence, to little fault of Sarri, considering he didn't choose the players that he has, right? But the insistence of Sarri on playing a false 9 with Maldini, as Ratkov and Dia continue to struggle for game time, of course.
But Ratkov and Dia, you know what I mean? I mean, who are we talking about here?
We're talking about Daniel Maldini.
Yeah, I know, but Daniel Maldini at least has been a thorn in the side of every team he's played against with Lazio. He's forced high turnovers. He's pressed well. He's provided some good technical work to link up with the likes of Isaacson and Taylor around him. He's been definitely the brightest of the lot, and it's not like you can put Ratkov and the Dia in the box and say, listen, they are going to score if a chance falls to them. I wouldn't say that confidently.
Yeah, but we don't
Dia-
know about
Dia-
Ratkov, eh?
Ratkov is, I think it's too early for him in Italian football. He needs to settle. He's just arrived, you know. Who is he? No one knows him. I doubt Sarri knows who he is.
they didn't know who he
Yeah,
is.
he
They
didn't
made
know
a
who
joke.
it was. He literally said it, I
Uh-huh.
think. So he definitely needs some more time. You know, he gave him how many appearances has he had with in Serie A?
Well,
7?
Seven, but
7 appearances with how many minutes?
If I go on detail, it's gonna tell me like 12 minutes, I'm sure.
he's played this
217 minutes.
Yeah, I mean
217 division by 7. He's played half an hour a game.
Yeah, not great. So he's easing into it. It's more Dia's form is disappointing, because if we had Salernitana's Dia, he definitely would be causing some problems, because that guy was confident, man.
He was quality.
He was good. Boulaye, he had 2 songs. Not many players get a chant, let alone 2.
Yeah.
But yes, bro, I think Parma are one of the hardest teams to break down in the league. They're a team that is built around statistics and data. So everything they do is based on XG, XA, XG against, you know, all this stuff. Like they maximize every opportunity to score, and they try to diminish and minimize every chance for the opponent to score.
They're disruptors. Everything about them is
They are.
disruptive.
Yeah.
That's the best way to describe them. I want to add, they had a really solid first half. They were of course, as you all know, they're always compact, disciplined, especially after getting the lead. Apparently, I didn't see this, but apparently they had a shout for a late penalty. But I couldn't find a highlight that showed that. They can feel hard done by, apparently. They're still not in the clear, but I think this side have done enough to separate themselves from any chat on relegation, and I'll be interested to see what happens with Cuesta at the end of the season, because I know a few sides in mid-table or outside of Italy are looking for a manager that could replicate what he's doing with a side that, halfway through the start of the season, everyone's talking about them for relegation.
Yeah. The shout at the end was a really weird one, man. There was this really weird situation where I believe an offside call took place as an on-field decision.
An offside
call. The referee went to VAR to check an offside.
Really?
On field, yes, it was really weird, man. It was something strange happened like that.
Okay.
Let me
Let's
find
look
an
into that.
exact,
Not
an
too sure.
exact. The first time VAR or gives another existing penalty. No, so this is comparing it to something else. Never mind.
Let me.
We'll look into it a little bit.
I thought when Lazzari came on, he was actually he changed the game quite a bit. He was very direct and aggressive, and he actually beat his man. He's a rare sight in this Lazio team. And I want to mention the comments Sarri made about the turbulent situation in his tenure at Lazio. He said it's been a difficult season. I'd call it a formative one. It would have been better if it had happened 15 years ago. Now, I could have done without it. Fair assessment for a 70-year-old chain smoker, to be fair, who had a great reputation with Sarri ball and all that. But Lazio are in 9th on 44 points. From Europe, and let's call Europe 6th spot upwards, they're 10 points behind, so that's not looking very likely. Whereas Parma, on the other hand, they're in 13th on 35 points, which means they are 8 points from the drop.
Yeah. So what happened, by the way, is Tavares handled the ball in the box, and the referee went to the monitor and didn't award the penalty despite the ball hitting his hand in the box because of Pellegrini's offside, who intervened with play by challenging for the ball from the Lazio fullback.
So there was an interference of play offside, which cancelled out the handball.
Exactly.
I'd need to see the timing of all that to have an opinion.
Yes. So we have Sassuolo now, who took on Cagliari and had to come back from behind to win 2-1. It was quite an exciting game, and Sassuolo, once they get their groove on, man, they play some extremely entertaining football, as we were discussing at the beginning of this episode. So Sassuolo lined up with Muric in goal, with Valukovic, Romania, Itzes, and Garcia at the back, Koanen towards Vet in the double pivot, Berardi on the right, Lauriante on the left, with Volpato playing behind Pinamonti. As for Cagliari, it was Caprile in goal, with Rodriguez, Mina, and Pedro at the back, Obert on the left, Palestra on the right, with Deola, Gaetano, and Adopo on midfield, Esposito and Folorunsho starting up front together. Now, Sassuolo actually had an inferior attacking output to Cagliari this game. They had 9 shots, 2 on target, only against 11 shots by Cagliari and 3 on target. Esposito converted a VAR-awarded penalty in the 30th minute after Itzes handled the ball. Itzes has been quite unlucky recently with these decisions against him. Sassuolo equalized via Garcia's lovely second half strike. From a cleared corner, granted it took a deflection, and then Pinamonti finished in the 78th minute from a lovely. He turned really well and controlled the ball really well, but it was towards Vet's lovely back heel to keep the ball in play. That really caught my eye.
Man, gorgeous.
Yeah, it was like a standing scorpion kick. And Cagliari missed a stoppage time open goal through Obert. That would have really got them a valuable point. They really needed that
very valuable point.
Yeah, because they are in trouble right now, and they're slowly sinking, and the pressure is mounting, and they have a manager who doesn't have that much experience, even though he has performed quite well this season, I would say. It's going to be a gritty end to the season for them,
man. And you remember, like they were on a 3-match winning streak where they had beaten Juve, Fiorentina, and then they killed Verona 4-0. And since then, which I was on the 31st of January, that last victory over Hellas Verona, they've essentially, they lost to Roma, lost to Lecce, drew to Lazio, drew to Parma, lost to Como, lost to Pisa, lost to Napoli, lost to Sassuolo. They should have won some of those games. And actually, when you compare the remaining fixtures to the remaining fixtures of Cremonese and Lecce, Cremonese and Lecce, they actually have the toughest run in Cagliari.
They do.
They have, so Cagliari upcoming. Cremonese upcoming. Inter away, Atalanta home, Bologna away, Udinese home, Torino home, Milan away.
It's vital for them to get a victory against Cremonese.
If they get that, it's a great step for them.
It is, and then they can relax a little bit and maybe play for a few draws. But
And the thing is, Cagliari are more capable historically this season, last season.
Of
They
causing
are
an
more
upset.
capable of causing an upset
course.
than Cremonese. Lecce are also capable. Lecce
They are.
have it in
Lecce
them.
will
And
take it to the
Francesca
last.
side tends to have a little bit of magic in them. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah. And Lecce in general. I mean, last year, the last game of the season against Lazio. that
And they
goal.
beat Cremonese recently, Lecce.
But how efficient are Sassuolo, man? Honestly, 2 goals from 2 shots on target. They increased the amount of bodies going forward, so they couldn't get past Cagliari's low block, and their wings were neutralized. So they just pushed bodies forward. Pinamonti was playing with his back towards the goalkeeper the whole time, and they just started doing these combinations, man. They're so fun to watch.
They look like a team that's been playing together for ages, man.
Yes.
And they have such unique players in their squad. Let me just pull out the lineups.
I have it right here.
Perfect. Like the likes of Berardi is a very unique player.
Of course. Volpato as well, super
Volpato.
creative.
And then man, Thordsvet Kone.
Yeah.
Thordsvet Kone. 2 players with in a double pivot with such different qualities, man. Such different qualities. You have Kone a bit more press resistant, covers a bit more ground, I think, at least. Short passing, clean passing. Then you have Thordsvet with stride, with attacking those spaces, and they're both capable of defending and attacking. Kone, because he can be quite a disruptor. And then you have Thordsvet, who is physicality. So in aerial situations, etc., he can really insert himself.
Yeah.
So just a great group of players, but not a much different side to the side that were relegated.
Yeah, fair enough. That's a very good point, bro.
They had held on to Dionysi, Greek god of the snow, Dionysi, for way too long, bro. And I remember we lost a follower because we said they should sack Dionysi.
Yes.
With 10 games to go, we
said
said they should finally, I think, sack Dionysi.
And I had said that they should sack Dionysi and bring in Ballardini, and they literally did it.
They did it.
A bit later. I found that insane.
And they got
like that.
relegated.
Yeah, they got relegated. So I was right, but I was wrong. What I want to see from Cagliari is I want to see them moving away from Folorunsho as a striker, man.
Yeah, I know, bro.
I'm tired of it. And now, Bellotti is back.
Bellotti is back.
Bellotti was on the bench this game. I don't know what condition he's in, but he's back. Kilic Soy
Borelli
is
is
available. Borelli is available. So I think they should maybe sacrifice, maybe not prioritize industry, man. Everyone always prioritizes pressing. I understand that you try to go for a draw and you try to stop that the attack is the first line of defense, but you need people to score the goals for you, man.
Totally,
and Esposito's so inventive. Give him someone to aim the ball at. Borelli is so sick.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
Where? Okay, there he is. Gaetano is a player I really, really fucking enjoy, man, for Cagliari. I'd like to know how old Gaetano is. Gaetano. 25. 25. He's a great little player, man.
Yeah.
And I think he is one of the main players that will stay up if Cagliari go down. You know how Cagliari won't go down, bro? If we go fucking to Sardinia
If we go watch them in Sardinia, maybe we should keep
you
that
remember
tradition
what
alive.
those 2 very wealthy-looking people told us, as we sat right next to Petania?
That we're good luck.
That we're good luck.
I remember.
Oh, we
I
should.
remember.
We should.
You remember
show
the
them.
fava bean?
We don't talk about the fava bean.
Yeah. Brought about some
us
bad luck.
and
Some bad
we
luck
had to trade
after
off
that.
some things for
Yes.
it. A dog and an uncle. It's true.
Yeah, unfortunately. So,
Yeah.
so when it comes to the standings, God knows how long we've been doing. We have no producer today.
No,
Good.
we're 2 hours in, but
okay.
we started 20 minutes in because we were pre-recording.
Okay. Yes.
We should be good.
So, Sassuolo are in 10th with 42 points, while Cagliari are in 16th with 30 points.
We have 2 games left. We'll just keep these a bit more brief. Hellas nil, Fiorentina 1. This is Verona's 19th loss of the season. So this made me curious. I said, what is the most a team has lost in a season? But they're nowhere near that. It was 28 games lost by Benevento, bro. 28
yes.
games
That's,
lost.
what that Benevento did that season?
Lost fucking 28 times.
Yes, and their goaler scored against Milan.
Ah,
and Milan
yes, bro. What's a
Brignoli.
Brignoli. I know a person with the surname Brignoli in Malta. All right, how have you been? Only 3 wins in Hellas Verona's locker this season. Just for context, Pisa have
That's
2.
where they keep their wins.
That's where they keep their wins, the 3 wins in their locker. The only team with less are Pisa with 2. The team, and then with the third least victories, are Cremonese with double the wins, with 6 wins.
And where are they keeping them?
They're keeping them in their AS. 3-match losing streak for Hellas Verona. They missed Serdar and Bella Ketchup. Fiorentina are now 5 points from the drop. 2 wins, 2 draws, 1 loss in their last 5. They missed Mandragora, Sabiri, Parisi, Dodò, Solomon and Fortini. The previous encounter between these two sides was Fiorentina 1, Hellas 2. And that came moments after they had signed Vanoli, if I'm not mistaken. Really bad injury crisis, by the way, for Fiorentina.
It's bad. They're important
Mandragora,
players.
Sabiri, Parisi, Dodò, Solomon, Fortini.
Are you taking the piss?
taking the
like
piss.
So many important
Sorry,
players.
you-
Yes, I was going to refer to them. Mandragora, Parisi, Dodò, and
Dodò,
Solomon
Solomon
are
are
extremely
starters.
important. Yes.
Fiorentina snatched the winner late through Niccolò Fagioli, who finished first time from the edge of the box after a break led by Jack Harrison, scoring completely against the run of play. Tempers then boiled over shortly after as Thomas Suslov and Albert Gudmundsson were both sent off following a heated clash before a set piece, capping a chaotic end to the game. It was basically, there was a free kick for Lecce and Gudmundsson stood ahead of
a bit too close to the ball.
A bit too close to the ball, really bent over and a bit weird. And Suslov went over and told him to fuck off. Gudmundsson pushed him. And then Suslov pushed them back. Then they grabbed each other's shirts. They were pulling at each other. Everyone got involved. And I think they tore each other's shirts because they were holding each other's shirts. And everyone was trying to separate them.
Yeah.
So they tore each other's shirts. So
Yeah.
the ref's like, oh, double red.
Yeah,
You're both
The ref's
savages.
like, you know what, man? Get the hell out of here.
At least it's a double red. You
Yeah.
didn't like point at someone and blame them more than the other.
I thought it was Suslov, to be honest, who was the instigator there because he literally walked up to Gudmundsson and pushed him. But I think in a situation like this, the smartest thing to do is just send them both off.
Yeah,
It's the fairest thing to do. They're literally pushing each other and
Uh-huh.
tearing each other's clothes.
But like
off by-
Suslov has to, and firstly, Gudmundsson pushed Suslov first.
Yeah.
I think Suslov went up to him, told him, "Can you fucking move back, bro? It's like the last minute
Yeah,
we're trying
yeah.
to take the free kick." And Gudmundsson kind of like, "Get out of my face."
Yeah.
In Maltese we say, "Tirvilla,
Tirvilla.
Tirvilla." You go
God knows,
crazy.
yeah.
But the most important player in this game was David De Gea.
Oh.
8 saves in this game because I have to say, man, Verona played Fiorentina off the park in this game. Just the missed chances that they had were ridiculous. Bowie and Orban just poor in front of goal, man. Really, really poor in front of goal. But De Gea magical, man. And he's one of those players, right? Who he shows up when the sun is out and
Yes.
he produces a masterclass.
Exactly. And what I have to say to our Verona fans who listen, who I love dearly, and I'm so happy that you are part of this family, is that quite simply, it just isn't your year, man. And in the past few seasons, you enjoyed watching a team that, to be honest, man, had less quality than this one, arguably, at least how this team started the season. And you got to watch them survive against all odds, but this time it's just not happening. All the luck has been used up in the past 2-3 seasons. And now, unfortunately, man, every game I watch of Hellas Verona is so frustrating. They miss so many chances and they
And they
concede
get
such
there, that's
unlucky
the-
goals.
The most annoying thing is that they get in front of goal more than any of these other
Yes.
motherfuckers battling relegation, man. You think they should be on the same level of points as Pisa,
Yeah.
with one more victory than Pisa, with the amount of chances that they create. If you compare the two sides XG, that'll be a nice little exercise. If
with
you
this
can't
game?
find Verona's XG throughout the season and Pisa's
Oh.
XG throughout the season.
Yeah. We can find.
Or
I'll try
whatever.
find a table of XG. Serie A
Nice.
XG table would be great to see. I think
Yeah.
they wouldn't be in relegation.
But 7 defeats in 8 at home.
Or expected points. Expected points. That's the real one. Expected points table.
7 defeats in 8 at home.
Yeah.
for Verona. No, that's really.
They are in 15th for expected points. They are expected to have. Wait, what the hell? That's expected points here. It is okay. They are expected to be on 29 points, and
Who's
they
behind
have
them?
18. So behind them, there's Cagliari, Pisa, Sassuolo, Lecce, and Cremonese.
That's insane.
That's mental.
That's what quality players does,
Yes.
man. That's what
Some
like,
people
Sassuolo have.
don't like that statistic. Some people do. Sorry if you don't.
I think it stands for something.
But now we can move on to the other team that we are rooting for in Europe, who is taking on the mighty Crystal Palace, aka Tasserkin in Malta.
Yep.
Fiorentina.
Fiorentina.
We are all Fiorentina in Europe. We are
me,
all
you.
Bologna. We are all Fiorentina.
Exactly.
Guess the player on the back of this one?
You guessed it.
Saponara.
Ricky, baby.
Yes.
Ricky Saponara.
Only niche players here. Soriano Saponara.
Soriano. Who's next? Siebert. Massive result for Fiorentina, of course, in the relegation fight with plenty of injuries. They really have to thank De Gea for this one. But they leapfrog Cagliari and gain some breathing room. I have to give a shout out to Fagioli, who's been their best midfielder by a landslide under Vanoli. He's really refined his game. He's press resistant, good range of passing. He's quite direct. And he finds pockets of space to attack just outside the area, and he has a nice, driven, powerful shot to him. Scored the goal, hit the crossbar in this game. He can hit a free kick as well. I think, I'm not going to say he's definitely the answer for Italy's worries in the number 6 role, but I think he's an improvement to what Italy have right now. It seems like his dog days are over, and his dog days have just begun.
Hell yes, brother.
Go Fagioli.
Hell yes.
Moise Kean, clearly not fit, barely involved in this game. Bit of a disappointing one. 2 shots for Fiorentina, 2 shots for Fagioli, 1 goal, and that's it. 2 shots for Fagioli. And incoming betting joke. He opens Bet365 and it's all back to square one. Fiorentina find themselves in 15th place on 32 points, while, of course, Verona find themselves in 19th on 18 points.
Delicious. So we have Pisa, who took on Torino and demonstrated to everyone what an impossible team they are to coach. Because Christ almighty, Pisa lack quality. And no matter how well organized you get these guys, it is abundantly clear that it's just too much for some of these guys, this level.
Yep.
So they had Semper in goal with Calabrese, Caracciolo and Cannestrelli. I'm going to miss the CCC.
Hey.
Leris on the right, Angori on the left with Abisher, Hoyholt and Tramoni in midfield with Moreo and Meister up front, Eminem. For Torino, it was Paleari, Ebosse, Ismaili and Cocco at the back, of course, Paleari in goal. Obrador on the left. Obrador! Pedersen on the right, Gneitis and Prati in the double pivot with Vlasic playing behind Kulenov and Simeone.
Shout out Prati.
Have you been seeing Simeone's brother, by the way, with Atletico?
Yes.
God, he
a
presses.
soldier of his father.
Wow.
Soldier of his father.
Wow.
Fast as well.
Yeah.
Bro. Fast.
But he presses like almost unprofessionally.
Hey, bro.
You know what I
hey.
mean? Like, but you love to see it. I mean, that's exactly what you
Bro,
want
he
from
is
your
the
from your
child
players.
of Simeone.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, and it's cool that he's managing his own son.
Yeah.
That's sick.
Yeah.
So, Torino edged a low-quality game, 1-0 with limited attacking efficiency, 13 shots and with 2 on target versus Pisa, 7 shots with only 1 on target. Adams scored in the 80th minute from point-blank range after Ebosse whipped in across to the far post. It was Pedersen who mishit his volley and it ended up becoming an assist to Shea Adams, who was in the right place at the right time. Pisa created the clearest openings but failed to convert. There was one really bad transitional error by Tramoni, who had Stojkovic free, who had just come on. Stojkovic had literally just come on, and he was clean. He was open. Tramoni played the ball and went just in front of Stojkovic, but he didn't chase it, which I found ridiculous. Granted, the pass should have been better, but you've just come on, chase it.
It's obvious. It's totally obvious. If Tramoni wasn't going to try to square the ball to give you an open net, he would have passed you earlier. So anticipate that the ball's going to be a bit fucking ahead of you, man.
Yeah.
Jeez. He obviously has to hit it with purpose.
Exactly.
Otherwise, the keeper is just going to fucking collect it.
Yeah, position was even, but this was just a low quality game as well, all round, man.
But I'll tell you, man. At least Torino, under their new management of D'Aversa, at least they're capable of getting points. Like, you look at their form right now, and they're kind of doing this cute little win kind of thing. But they've beaten Lazio. They've actually destroyed Parma. Now they have a win against Pisa. They really brought it to Milan, and they just missed out 3-2. They brought it to Napoli, and they lost 2-1. They're just a lot more competitive nowadays, eh? It's a scrappy 1-0 victory over a relegation-threatened Pisa away from home. Fuck it.
Yes.
They got 3 points.
Yes, a clear improvement under D'Aversa, and they have been playing much better. Of course, sometimes when you go up against these teams, they tend to turn the game into a scrap, and this is kind of what happened. But in reality, they created one big chance, granted inadvertently, but they managed to win the game, and it ended up being a 1-0 that takes Torino to 12th on 36 points, while Pisa sit dead last in 18th.
Speaking of Shea Adams, firstly, shout out, what an intelligent striker.
5 goals only, though. Huh? That's like centre back numbers.
Yeah, it's true. If your centre back is lit, no, but honestly, I think he's very intelligent.
He is.
And speaking of him, if you typically support Italy because you love Serie A and the World Cup, you know how we spent summer supporting Serbia because of the insane amount of Serie A players that they were playing for that Serbian national team. Scotland, guys. Scotland, that is our team for the next World Cup. I'm a bit biased, for those of you that don't know, I lived in Scotland. But Scott McTominay, alright? Shea Adams, Billy Gilmore, Lewis Ferguson.
Can you read them all in a Scottish accent? Do it again.
Scott McTominay, fucking Shea Adams, Billy Gilmore, Lewis Ferguson, fucking
Aaron Hickey.
Lennon Miller, fucking. There's another one. That's somewhere.
There was the Sassuolo one, no? Or is he not Pedersen? Is he not Scottish?
I don't think he's Scottish.
Oh.
But yeah, well, that's already enough, guys.
Yeah, that's enough.
Some really cool players in there.
So grab your bagpipes.
So grab your bagpipes. Don't wear any underwear under your kilt. And yeah, let's eat some haggis. Grr.
Black pudding.
Yeah. So we didn't do the prediction series at the start, as we didn't give an update regarding the prediction series. But first things first, why don't we give people an update on our fantasy leagues?
Yes. We have Catenaccio Maxi, of course, is still in first place and seems to be indispensable. He's the king. Alan has mastered fantasy football. He's on 2,308.5 points.
I mean, we could say congratulations almost. I look at the gap that he's
take
created.
a miracle for Inter your mom or Zanetti's asshole to catch up to Alan at the moment.
Can I just say what absolute perverts we all are, man?
Yeah,
choke me Maxi, which is I've never, but like Alan, that is bizarre. I love it because it's not even like it's such a lazy attempt of a pun.
It's brilliant.
Got to not choke me, Maxi. Fuck it. I don't give a fuck.
Enter your mom.
Enter your mom.
It's brilliant.
It is excellent. Zanetti's asshole is just straight up lazy from my end. But three absolute perverts, which they all have something to do with penetration.
I'm in 10th still. That's where I want to be, I decided. I like being in 10th.
You like being in 10th?
I like it.
Nice.
I like it.
It's
comfortable.
Udinese,
nice number. You know what I mean? Consistent.
Yeah.
You know, not going to have the opportunity to get my head too big. Not going to have the opportunity to get relegated.
Or get Europe.
Nothing.
Loser.
I'm just in 10th, man. We're just chilling. Like.
I am draw second with Interior Mom. I know it says I'm third there, but that's not just.
That's because your teammate starts with a Z.
That's true. I fucked myself, man. Anyway, prediction series.
No. The best performers of the week.
Oh my god.
Goblin Mussolini with 91 points. Ardon's Hardon with 86. Allegri's Allegations with 82.5. Interbred with 81.5. AC Maldini with 81. Hot Girl Summer with 78. And Today Your Love, Tomorrow the World 78. Matthias, I'm sorry, I just don't get it, man.
Today.
I know it's Today, but
Today.
I understand Today. It's the only thing I know from this. Is it
I'm gonna Google the reference.
Google Today Your Love, Tomorrow the World.
Tomorrow the World. Okay, lyrics.
Is it a song?
Lyrics came up immediately.
A song by?
The Ramones.
The Ramones, hostia. Oh, be careful, might get down for copyright. Don't play that.
You're absolutely right. I'm not doing that. Jeez, good save.
We'll listen after, though.
Yeah.
Okay.
Prediction series. I won.
He did.
It's a 6-5. It went down to the wire. It's the Napoli victory that got me. So
'Cause I said
when me
draw.
and Jake were listening to the predictions, and at the end I said, "Ooh, I'm torn between a Napoli draw and a Napoli win, but I'm gonna go for a Napoli win," and actually celebrated the Napoli win for a second.
So
which,
Matthew celebrated Napoli beating Milan just for everyone to
to show you how neutral I am. So it's currently 7-6. So tighter
7-6,
than
yeah.
tighter than your mom,
So
bro.
6-7.
6-7. Tighter than your mom. Let's jump to next weekend's matches. And this week you have to start. And the first game is Roma Pisa. For those of you who don't know, these are quick fire.
Roma, Pisa, Roma win.
Roma win. Cagliari Cremonese. My turn. Draw.
Cagliari.
Torino Verona.
Draw.
Torino. Milan Udinese.
You're up or me?
You,
Draw.
I think. I might have fucked you there. Draw, you go.
Yeah, draw.
Shit, I think it was my turn. I'm gonna go Milan. Dai ragazzi. Atalanta Juve. Oh my god. Dude. Juve. Genoa Sassuolo.
I'll go Sassuolo.
Interestingly, I'm gonna go Genoa.
Ooh.
Parma Napoli. Napoli. Bologna Lecce.
Bologna are not going to make the same mistake.
Draw. Como Inter. Inter. Fiorentina Lazio.
Draw for me.
Draw, I'm gonna go as well.
Okay.
Guys, thank you so much for listening. If you're watching on YouTube, you might have noticed we didn't have the typical graphics that we normally do, but hopefully Nate will be back next episode as he was unavailable today.
He will be.
A health update on my cat. Surgery was successful and his recovery is going very well. So yes, and by he I mean they, because he needed to snip his wiener off. But that's enough for this episode. We look forward to seeing you all
back in
next
the
week.
day, they had castrati in Italy. Little boys with beautiful voices would be castrated to preserve their beautiful voices.
So that the Romans can shag them, no?
No, so they can sing beautifully forever. So their voices don't break. I don't know what the hell being castrated and getting shagged forever has to do with.
By the Romans, yes.
But why? Why would they bother castrating them to shag? Oh, I don't understand the correlation.
No, man. Maybe they would want them to keep their little voice because they're pedophiles. I don't know. Keep them young.
Fair doubt that unfortunately this current state of the world that tracks.
Yeah. Powerful people love eating children and
we need to go.
Yeah,
Thank you
pursue
very
it.
much.
Ciao.
Ciao, guys.
See you.
If you like Serie A or have ever liked it in the past, it's a good opportunity for you to listen once a week and you'll get filled in.
In the football weekend, that's like the main dish. But then a few days later, you drop your episode and that's like the dessert. And the dessert is just perfect.
It's good, the cake.
It makes it feel like we're all sitting in a room together, just BSing with each other.
The atmosphere is fantastic.
I promise nobody will ask you to send boob pics.
Sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit.
I love how you go into so much detail and show so much passion towards each and every team. Literally, no team is left undiscussed.
When I listen to you, it's like I'm talking to you in a pub. It's like I'm chatting to a friend and you're chatting to me.